What's up, guys? Welcome to another monthly forecast horoscope episode. It's your boy Codifer. What's going on, guys? This is going to be your astrological monthly overview for the third month of 2026. We are going to be talking about everything that's going on in the month of March, and towards the end of the video there will be timestamps for the horoscopes if you guys just want to just kind of jump towards your horoscope. I do rising sign horoscope predictions of through all 12 signs, just to kind of let you know what I do here. But for the most part, I explain all the astrological important transits here. I got my notes here telling you about what we will be going through, and on top of that, later on through the video, we will be going through all the important transits for it, all 12 zodiac sign transits, telling you where these planets or these important transits are going to be happening in certain areas of the houses for all 12 zodiac signs. Kind of give you the basic gesture of what I do in these videos. Kind of like a bold statement right here. But yeah, if you are new here, thank you so much. I am so grateful to be continuing doing this. You guys are literally the best thing ever. You have no idea, guys. I just wanted to just give you guys a shout out for there. My name is Cody, or you can call me Codifer. That's kind of like my online performance or stage name, whatever you want to say. I'm an astrologer. I've been doing these videos. This is probably going to be 3 years exactly ish. I don't know. I've been kind of studying and working online and doing astrology for maybe like 6 years at this point. It's been just a lifelong passion. Growing up doing all this stuff, I've just been so blessed to be just finding just something that I just love to do, and I've been running with it for the past this whole decade. Honestly, the whole 2020s, I've just been rolling with it, and it's just all the blossoms that have been all the blessings and blossoms, just watching it grow over the past decade. It's just been one hell of a run, and I feel so grateful for this, and I'm just super excited to continue doing all this stuff. So I just kind of just wanted to add all that too. But so in March of 2026, so yeah, I'm gonna be basically explaining all the important transits like I've mentioned. Usually I go through about maybe half hour, 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, depending on the first hour or something like that. Usually the forecast is a little bit shorter than the actual horoscopes, but after the forecast, I usually just go from, all the rising sign transits from Aries all the way to Pisces Rising, like I said. So that usually takes about maybe an hour and a half, lengthwise and stuff like that. So, I hope that's a good little introduction. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe before we even jump forward into this month. I just want to give you guys a shout out again. Thank you so much for being here. You have no idea how blessed I am and how just grateful that I can share this to just online content and stuff like that. So I just want to just kind of just put that out there too. So let's get into the most important transits of the month. There's about 8 for this month. Decent month. March, guys, we are in eclipse season, so things are going to be like heating up in a way, you know what I mean? Things might feel kind of like an emergency inside some type of energy waves or whatever vibe, but that's just eclipse season months. If you remember kind of the last time we had an eclipse season, which was in September, that was a very heated month. Whatever was going on in September, we are kind of at the culmination 6 months later of what started then, and we are finally like kind of seeing something blossom at that point. So similar themes are going to be popping up as we get these 2 eclipses, and we actually had the first solar eclipse in Aquarius at the end of February. So that was kind of like the beginning stages of the eclipse season heating up, because there's going to be a transitioning happening with the nodes shifting this summer, leaving Pisces and Virgo into Aquarius and Leo. That's just a side note that we will be heading towards later on this year. But for the most part, these are the important transits. We got Mars entering Pisces. We have the lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is one of the last lunar eclipse in Virgos we're going to have in the series. And then we have Venus in Aries. She's moving from Pisces into Aries. We're going to have Jupiter stationed direct in Cancer to finish its time. We also will continue a few more months of Jupiter in Cancer as well. We have a solar eclipse in Pisces, which I believe that's going to be the last full partial solar eclipse, whatever you want to call it, in the sign of Pisces. Then Aries season starts. This is the beginning of the new astrological new year. Mercury will station direct the same day the sun enters Aries around the 20th, which is going to be super nice because we are also going through a Mercury retrograde at this time, guys. But we're finishing up this. And then literally one of the last things happening is Venus entering her home sign of Aries, Taurus, I should say. Venus will enter Taurus. She flies through Aries, enters Taurus, like literally at the end of the month. So I know a lot to take in, a lot of information. It's always a lot here, guys, but that is a quick introduction, kind of. Let's get into some advertisements. So if you want to follow me for any social media content, whatever platform besides YouTube, I am mainly active on Instagram. This is kind of like my main social media page. I advertise my merch sales. I advertise these little clips from these videos. I advertise these little illustrations for the months. I'm recording this in February. I've been going live on TikTok. I've been having these guests, like my friends, like come on. We've been having such a blast doing these lives. I am loving it. I just had somebody on here. I was like talking to somebody for like, I don't know, the longest time. It was the coolest thing, unexpected. It was just like, oh my gosh, like I loved it so much. It's fun doing these lives. So come follow me on TikTok. And let's just hang out on live and stuff like that. So this is just a few things that I do on my Instagram. I just wanted to kind of put that out there because I've just been enjoying it. Here's the links that I am on. I'm on Patreon. You can support my channel, support my work, $10 a tier. Or you can also join as a free member. I do free written horoscopes for every seasonal horoscope every month. Pisces horoscope should be out at this point, at this time. My last one I did was Aquarius season. Follow me on YouTube, TikTok, like I said. Come follow me. Come join the lives and hang out, guys. I'm telling you, it's the best thing ever. I've been loving it. The merch website we're going to get to in a second. I'm on Facebook and then Spotify. You can follow me there as well. Let's go to the merch website. I got some cool stuff to show you. So right now I'm kind of having a 25% off sale. I'm always having a bunch of sales on my website mostly every month. February had a lot of sales for some reason. It was like 25% off, 20% off. I had a 30% off, like literally the last day of February and the first day of March. So that's just crazy. Like I'm super excited to even, I was blown away about that. But I didn't show you guys the Aquarius merch in the last month, but this is it right now. I'll just kind of quick on it. Give you guys a little sneak peek of the Aquarius merch. Pisces merch will be out by this month, but yes, here's the Aquarius merch. It's super cool. There's a bunch of stuff on here, guys. Hats, tank tops, bags, hoodies, cups, long sleeves, water bottles, joggers, pillowcases, mouse pads, stickers, shorts, other stuff. Like there's a bunch of stuff. Here's the year of the fire horse. Whatever that design that I showed you guys in the last video. But yeah, quick little what's new. Pisces merch will be out. I'm super excited about the Pisces merch, guys. I literally love the design and I literally can't wait to show you guys out. But stay tuned. That'll be up there eventually. So this is just kind of what you want to go to. So let's kind of get back to the good stuff. Now we will begin. This is going to be your astrological forecast for March of 2026. So let's get into the chart. All right, guys. So like I said, what I do here is, kind of just explain all the important transits, maybe take about a little over a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that, whatever. But if you just enjoy the ride and kind of just want to know exactly everything that's going on, let's just get into it. Because March, like I said, March is another big month, guys. It's an eclipse type of month. So this is a universal shift in the energies throughout this whole month, guys. So nothing's gonna I wouldn't say just we just kind of have to ride the wave. And one thing I want to kind of say by riding the wave, I'm gonna be talking about it maybe a little bit more throughout this transit this month, is we kind of have like two major things happening right at the beginning of the month. Mars leaves the sign Aquarius and enters the sign of Pisces on March 2nd, alongside the lunar eclipse in Virgo building up at this point. So let's just kind of get to that point at this. Let me see. I think it's at, so it's another 13, 12. It's like 12, 13 degrees of Virgo basically. But let's start with Mars and Pisces. So Mars in Pisces is kind of an interesting transit. I mean, Mars is entering a Jupiter-ruled sign. It's leaving the fixed Saturnian rebellious kind of energy that it's been in through Aquarius since, what was it, the end of January, I believe it was. So it shifts into Pisces. Mars is the planet of, action, desired directions, confrontation, slicing, kind of separating something, just going after what gets you up and going. You know what I mean? That's kind of Mars's energy. When it moves in Pisces, it kind of jumps into the spiritual waters of Pisces and stuff like that. It has this like internal, intuitional feeling of that can guide wherever you kind of feel like you need to just go towards in a way. I hope that makes sense. But like, it's kind of just like you're like what I've been thinking of before I recorded this, like Mars and Pisces is kind of like a chameleon energy. It kind of just blends into whatever environment that it wants to, I guess, go towards or be a part of. And if there's any like desired direction or passion or something that's just that catches your eye in a more spiritual intuition kind of blendable kind of way, you will push your way towards whatever path you will want to go after. But sometimes I feel like if like you kind of have this odd feeling about something, you won't kind of go towards it. Like I feel like it's almost like a psychic energy. I don't want to be like too woo-woo about that, but like I feel like if you do have this passion of like, ooh, my intuition, there's something internally telling me I want to go do this and maybe I should do this. Kind of follow that, like listen to your gut in a way. But if you kind of have this weird feeling, you're like kind of feeling uncomfortable, you don't want to go towards that feeling because your gut is probably trying to tell you something. I hope that's a good explanation for that. We can talk a little bit more if I think of anything else, but the lunar eclipse in Virgo. So this is a full moon, but this is also a lunar eclipse. So this is like a full moon on steroids, as you might have heard. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying, but so usually when I talk about the full moon in Virgos, everything's in Pisces literally right now, or the stellium happening here. Usually whenever we have a full moon in Virgo, all this Pisces energy is in this like dreamy, spiritual, kind of blendable, uncharted territory world. And then the moon goes into Virgo and it kind of like it brings us back down to earth in a way. It's like, okay, let's kind of get our feet back on the ground and kind of just, try to balance this like energy out just so we don't get kind of lost in the sauce in the type of way. I kind of feel like I've been talking about that every year, every time we have a full moon in Virgo. But having this in an eclipse, I want to go back to, like I said, September, or let's just say Virgo season. We had 2 new moons in the sign of Virgo. There was one at like 0 degrees of Virgo, and then there was another new moon, which was a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo too. So there was like this 2 double new moon lunations in Virgo, kind of refreshing the energies, letting go, because it's the South Node has been here, kind of replenishing this energy, this Virgo energy, and it's like letting go of maybe certain details or mundane systems that we have been kind of going after, or like routine wise and stuff like that over a lifetime or months and weeks or whatever that's been. It's been trying to let us kind of change something here. And maybe most people have maybe felt stuck and comfortable in doing these little mundane details, but that hasn't really got you anywhere, because that's kind of what the South Node is about. The North Node has been kind of pushing us, has been kind of guiding us in some type of way of to be more open, to go into uncharted territories and stuff like that, to be more spiritual. Like I said, it's in a Jupiter ruled sign. It's trying to give us more faith about the future, or just going out beyond where we can see. But this is like the internal energy that's inside of us, that's been kind of guiding us in a way, like I said, like the Mars and Pisces in a way. But yeah, so whatever was going on in September, this is 6 months later, and usually, like I say, whenever these lunations happen, it takes about 6 months for it to really unfold. So if there's anything that was maybe starting in September, you'll kind of maybe see the illumination, the culmination, whatever is finalization, if that's a word, around this time. So things are coming to a bloom in an eclipsed way. So usually a lunar eclipse is when the moon is going behind the Earth's shadow to reveal hidden emotions, and that's another thing that's going on at this point too. So even if you want to feel more detail oriented, you want to kind of get your feet back on the ground and focus on something, there's some internal emotions that are going to be popping off or revealed around this time, and that's going to be for the better or worse. Eclipses are about drastic beginnings and drastic endings, but there's a reason for these eclipses to happen. I really hope that's a good explanation for that. I feel like it is. So the next really big thing is Venus is starting to get into a sextile with Uranus. Little kind of, gesture, little opportunity. Venus is still exalted in Pisces. She's finishing up her time. She connects to this little 60-degree angle to unpredictable Uranus to shake up something new here. Maybe Venus in Pisces, you've been maybe more open to relationships. You've been more blendable. You've been more just enjoying. Excuse me. You've been enjoying like just new feelings, and just feeling a little bit loose and kind of just hanging. I feel like this is a good time to just kind of let loose, hang out with friends, and just kind of just enjoy the good things in life and stuff like that, because she is exalted. So kind of like I said last month, she's lifted up in a way. So, and it's been nice having, I bet, Venus in her exalted sign. But she, comes with this sextile with Uranus. Try something new when it comes to relationships, whatever you are valuing. If you want to spice things up in a way, literally, if in a relationship or just in your daily life, you want to try something new that you never really tried. And it'll be maybe something little. It's not going to be like, oh my God, if you do this, this is going to change your life. No, this is just like, why don't you, it's like maybe trying something new for the first time. You know what I mean? You step outside the box and you try this and you're like, wow, this is actually something good. Like something like that. It's not the biggest thing, but that's kind of just how I would think about it. Okay, so the next thing happening, let me just adjust this chart real quick. So yeah, Venus sextile Uranus. Try something new. Maybe there's something that's out there that you never tried before, and then you actually try it and you're like, wow, this is actually very enjoyable, something like that. Next big thing happening is the sun is coming up to a trine towards Jupiter, and Jupiter is basically, at this point, it means that Jupiter is about to station direct. So whenever the sun makes a trine to mainly Jupiter or mainly any outer planet for the most part, it is just a sign that they're about to change directions, station retrograde or station direct. So this is a really good aspect. Jupiter rules the trine aspect, which is another keynote, if you guys didn't know about that anyways. The sun is in Pisces. We're in this changeable season. We're kind of just blending anything that we want to blend into. We are kind of more having this unconditional emotional connection towards just everything, being a little bit more expansive in a way. And this is a good explanation to be more expansive, because it is the sun in Pisces making a good aspect to its ruler, Jupiter in Cancer, which is exalted, and it's still in Cancer. It's been super lovely. And like I said, Jupiter is going to be stationing direct, finishing this Jupiter retrograde that it's been in since November. So this is just a good, we're at the finalization of the Jupiter Jupiter retrograde transit, you could say. And there might be some internal growth that we will get to in just a sec that I will leave that with. So the next big thing is Venus is going into Aries. So, sorry, my like throat's been kind of like feeling weird. So if I feel like I'm like coughing or whatever, that's just, I don't know, I woke up weird. Anyways, so Venus leaves her exalted sign of Pisces and enters a Mars ruled sign of Aries. And she's kind of getting into this little Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's been kind of, you know, happening over the past couple months at this point, and we're kind of past it, but it's still in the background, we'll say. So Venus, like I said, is about love, relationships, pleasures, enjoyment, what we are attracting, what we just want to find enjoyment and just fun and stuff like that. But she enters a Mars-ruled sign. She enters her sign of detriment or exile, you can say. So this is a kind of a foreign type of energy, you can say, when Venus enters a Mars-ruled sign. Last time she was in a Mars-ruled sign, she was in Scorpio. That is the other Mars-ruled sign, you could say. But yeah, Venus entering Aries. This gives her this little feisty, this little like internal spark that she kind of wants to, you know, go after if she finds something valuable or she finds something attractive. And I feel like most people that have Venus and Aries, they are very forceful. They are very like, I want to be the first one to get what I want, and they will go after it. It's a very external kind of way of expressing what you want in a way. When Venus is in Scorpio, it kind of has this internal, like behind the scenes. You don't see them as so external of what they want, but they kind of are in the background. They're in the shadows, and they find a way to get what they want, but you don't really see it as much as a Venus and Aries kind of person does, just to kind of put that out there. But yeah, Venus and Aries, this is just going to be a very little hot, sexy, feisty kind of flirtatious kind of way of getting what you want. She ends up going over, like I said, in between, Neptune and Saturn in a way. So there's like, she hits Neptune first, and then it's just like this new fantasy illusion that might feel like, ooh, I want this. Like, this is like a shiny new toy. And it's like, ooh, this is like telling me I should go after this and stuff like that. But it's Neptune. It's decisive. It's maybe manipulative in a way. It's very like, ooh, is like, what is that saying? All glitters is not all gold or something like that. Not all glitters is gold or something like that. So like kind of just watch out, but then she ends up hitting Saturn, and then it's just like, ooh, reality check. You maybe don't need that or something like that. Like it's kind of just a weird little configuration here, but I just thought I'd mention that. Mercury's coming up to the heart of the sun at the same time. So we're kind of at the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde, which is good. Things will kind of look up from here at this point because Mercury is going towards direct station at this point. So let me take that drink. So there's some like clarity in a way, even though Mercury in Pisces is not so clear. So there's like this internal clarity, I would think, this internal feeling of like, oh, there is something that might actually be here that can shift my perspective, kind of change my mind, change these plans, change these ideas that I've been kind of stirring up as Mercury's been going back and forth in Pisces. And like I said, Mercury's in detriment, fall, whatever you want to call it. So it's like I said, it's not really acting very clearly, but it kind of has to be more open. It's a test of faith, like I said last month. And like I said, both of these planets are kind of trining its ruler over here, Jupiter. And you get, like I said in last month in February, lean towards like these higher educational, maybe teachers, people that can guide you, gurus, anybody that can just help you just kind of put your feet on the ground in a way, because they might feel lost in the sauce. Mercury in Pisces is kind of just like, you just go and you're just lost, and you're just like lost in your mind and thought, and you're like, what is this? But that can happen. But then this is like, this is the clarity point. This is like somebody's like, or something or someone is like kind of like having a helping hand. It is leaning you towards like, hey, it's all good. They're like kind of let the universe do its thing. Like if somebody's like telling you it's all going to be all right, this is kind of what that is saying in a way. So don't fear as much as that. But yeah, we're at the halfway point. Mercury's going to be stationing direct very soon. Excuse me. Simultaneously, at the same time, like I said, she runs into Neptune. There's some illusions when it comes to fantasies, relationships. Maybe kind of watch what you're getting into, and then she runs into Saturn, and it's just like boom, reality check. You're facing whatever you are facing in a way. So it's like you gotta watch how far you go. Like to reference like kind of like a party thing or whatever. You're out with friends. There's just like it's just a very just illusion, fantasy, just kind of get letting loose and stuff like that. And then it's just like, boom, the cops show up, or somebody's like, hey, somebody called about this party, and now we got to like shut it down in a way. We got to get back home and we got to sober up in a way. I'm just kind of just throwing that out there. That's kind of perspective to look at this. But just watch out, watch how far you go in a way, because there might be some consequences, let alone, Saturn. He's like, I'm the gatekeeper, so you can't do that in a way. He's like the one that says no. He's the authority figure, but just to reference that. And then I talked about the Mercury coming back to a trine with Jupiter. We'll move on. And then the next big thing is literally Jupiter is stationing direct at 15 degrees of Cancer. It's around like the 10th, 11th, or whatever you could say. So yeah, so Jupiter since November 12th, it was at 25 degrees of Cancer, stationed retrograde, and then has moved back 10 degrees to 15 degrees of Cancer. And we have been, all of this growth, all of this belief, all of this like faith and emotional wisdom that we have been kind of granted with since Jupiter's been in Cancer, let alone when Jupiter's been in retrograde, has been turning inward. The growth has been deflating over the past couple months, but like I said, this is a internal growth that we have to kind of understand this growth on our own. We have to do our practices when it comes to faith or beliefs or just like anything to take care of ourselves. Jupiter in Cancer has been very lovely. It's still exalted. We still have a few more months of Jupiter in Cancer. So live it up. This is the best Jupiter transit that we are going to have. Like literally, guys, when Jupiter goes into Leo, it's not going to feel like this. I'm just saying, like, it'll be okay for like a couple months, but I'm just saying, take advantage of this Jupiter transit because it's going to be probably a while before we have like a decent Jupiter transit. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I've been thinking about this. The next thing is, let's see, because Jupiter's going to enter Leo in like July, so I just want to add that. Okay, next big thing is Mars is going over the North Node. And what I was like saying about like the, ride the wave and stuff like that, like kind of get like a surfing reference or whatever. Like Mars in Pisces is kind of like this watery, like it's under the surface kind of like way of doing things. It's not so out there. It's not so just bright. It just, like I said, it's kind of a blendable, kind of riding the wave and seeing just like, if you want to go towards something, listen to your gut and it will guide you in a way. Mars on the North Node. A good way of like referencing what I was saying is like, let's just say you are waiting for the right wave. You're surfing and you're waiting for the good wave to just like go after it. When Mars hits the North Node, this is your like chance to be like, here you go. Here's a wave. Go for it. Like just go at it and stuff like that. No matter what it is. Like I'm just not saying this could be anything. If there's a directional path that you are kind of desiring to, that's kind of like poking at you in a way. It's like, hey, if you want to do something, I think now's your chance in a way. So this is kind of what it's saying. It's offering that guidance. It's offering that expansiveness. It's offering to be more open, to take that chance, take that risk in a way, even if it feels uncomfortable, and it probably will, but there might be something there that you will find and you're going to be like, blown away if you literally take the right opportunities. I'm just saying, like, I've been thinking about that. That is probably the perfect way to describe that. And then like Mars is about to start trining Jupiter in a way. He's coming up to Mercury. Mercury and Mars, guys, have been kind of coming together since like October. I think that's kind of, yeah, that's the next thing happening. So the next really big thing happening is Mercury and Mars, excuse me, are kind of coming together. And like I said, Mercury and Mars have been kind of going back and forth, making these like conjunctions. I think this is like the fourth one since like October. They met up in Scorpio when Mercury first did that, retrograde thing in a Scorpio, when Mars was there too. That was a very deep, cutthroat kind of transit. And then they both entered Sagittarius. And then that's when Mercury stationed retrograde, but stuff like that. And then Mars kind of made that second conjunction with Mercury. And that was kind of just like a testing your faith, beliefs, and just kind of, maybe, I don't know, something like very blunt communications, you could say, possibly. And then they kind of met up a little bit in Capricorn. I know I missed talking about that. I think that was in January in a way. That might have been like a more serious kind of tone, very just super disciplined, just like cold and detached way of like maybe communicating and just putting your mental energy towards something. And then they were both co-present in the sign of Aquarius, but everything was like kind of like ahead, or no, Mercury ended up passing Mars after the conjunction went in Capricorn, but they were still in the same sign of Aquarius for most of like their time, and now they both entered Pisces, and here it is. This is the next conjunction between Mars and Mercury, and they're gonna make one more in Aries, I believe in like April, I think. So this one might be a little bit more passive in a way, when it comes to like communication, or kind of putting your energy towards like more spiritual mechanisms, I would think, in maybe one way or whatever. But it could be a blendable mess in a way, so to say. So I would just kind of be careful, but they're both kind of on the north node. So let's just say like this isn't a mess. Maybe this is like something that you are trying to go back over your thoughts of a plan, and then Mars, the action, the desire to do something, you're kind of putting two and two together, and you're like, maybe this is a good way, a good path to actually maybe go after in a way. So that's kind of how I would see it in a way, to think more positively about this. So yeah, they're on, both of them on the north node is kind of just like being like, hey, there might be something here. So take your chances in whatever it is. I'm just saying, but yeah, they're going to make one more conjunction in Aries. That might be a little bit more heated in a way, but we'll get there. Just to kind of describe what's been going on between these two. The next big thing is we are kind of ending Pisces season and going towards this, basically this partial, you could say a partial solar eclipse. It's kind of like 20 degrees away from the actual node. It's another 28 degrees lunation right here. So yeah, I mean, it's 20 degrees away, but it's still in the sign of Pisces, so we can call this a solar eclipse. But this is going to be, I believe, the last partial, like the partial solar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. I believe next year we kind of have like a new moon in Pisces, but it's like that is going to be the actual closing, the ending of this chapter that we've been in, since the north node's been in Pisces and south node's been in Virgo since January of 2025. So this is like one last ending, one last turning point. Literally, this is almost on the Aries ingress and stuff like that. So like right after this, we are literally like shifting towards newness, a new chapter, a new cycle, new sparks will be immersing after this point and stuff like that. So like I said, the energy is going to be probably maybe a little wild in a way, but as soon as this new moon solar eclipse in Pisces happens, things will kind of just end up going into like new territory, a new cycle. So many planets are going to start entering Aries. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a huge like wildfire in a way. So that's gonna be wild. You know, like as I'm looking over March, like it's not that bad of a month. We're just really like kind of, you know, ending old chapters, kind of going back over certain last minute checks or last minute things to just get everything in order. You know, it's a huge, just like huge, what is the word? I don't know. It's just a huge shift. Everything is everywhere in a way. But as we get towards Aries season, which is basically like the next, you know, big thing, but right before we get there, Mercury is going to start to station direct, but I have a Venus squaring Jupiter. So right here, the Venus is at 15, and Jupiter is at 15, Cancer, Aries. So this is kind of interesting. I mean, Venus is in detriment, but she's kind of in the superior position in a way. So it kind of gives her the upper hand to have the last say. Venus and Aries, now that she's past the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, she's been kind of just doing her own thing. She's already halfway through Aries at this point. Just kind of going after whatever she wants. You know, we'll have this desire, this like very attractive desire to just go after things that we want. And she'll run into the square with Jupiter, and it's like I would think like even though you might want to go out there and like have this fiery like desired like immediate reaction to just go after something, there might be some type of consequences when it comes to like beliefs or some type of like goal, like not goals but just growth. Like there might be some tensions between what you want but what you actually need, I would think, because Jupiter's in Cancer. It's all about protection. It's trying to have as much nurturing beliefs or just wisdom of like, you know, yeah, I might want to have this desire to go after that, but I also kind of need to take care of this in a way. But I don't know, this is kind of a interesting description to, you know, say that, but you might want to go after a little bit more things over what you actually need, I would think. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Anyways, but yeah, Mercury is next thing is stationing direct, so that's the next big thing. Little S here. And guys, look at this. As soon as Mercury stations direct, every single planet is direct. There's nothing over here. Everything is just over here building up. The sun enters Aries. We are in the new astrological new year. This is where things literally get locked into 2026, I would think. So this is going to be a crazy month too, guys. I wouldn't say crazy, but this is going to be like the time where it's like, wow, now we're done with all the delays. Yes, we have the Mercury post shadow, whatever. But after this, everything is just direct. Things are going to start to move quick, fast. Uranus is going to be one of the next planets moving into Gemini next month in April. And then all these planets are going to just start to get into Aries. We're going to have this huge Aries party. It's just going to be huge. It's going to be huge, guys, honestly. So the sun enters Aries. The sun is exalted in Aries. The sun in Aries is what actually is about like showing people what you are made of, I would think. A lot of people who are Aries suns, they want to be like the first one to do something. They want to pioneer into new territories. They want to just kind of just go for it and ram. Literally, they are the ram and they will go for it no matter head first, no matter what the consequences is. They want to be the first to do it. That is Aries season, or that is Aries energy, I could say. But there are some Saturn-Neptune stuff going on in Aries, so it's not just like, let's just go ahead at first, because Saturn in Aries is like, hey, it's a little hesitant. We can't just like go after it and get that immediate reaction. We need to take more time with this Aries energy. And it's going to feel like most people, if they don't understand this, they might feel impatient. They might feel like frustrated. And yes, we all are going to feel like this as Saturn transits the sign of Aries. But if you take this internal spark and kind of just continue to consistently move and build and work, you will gain the rewards. I'm a Saturn and Aries person too. And yes, I like to have things like fast and quick. But as I've been getting older, I've been realizing this. I can continue this spark along the way, and that's what this Saturn and Aries transit's going to be about over the next couple years, guys. So it's like I can talk more about it. We'll talk more about it next month once we get everything in Aries, because it's gonna be wild. Mars is gonna enter Aries. Mercury will join the party. That's gonna be a huge thing, guys. But as soon as we're done with the Mercury direct station, everything's done. Everything's locked in. Everything is moving forward. We are off to the races at that point, guys. I'm just saying, like, so this is the craziest thing. Mars ends up making a trine to Jupiter. That's just continuing this, like even Mercury's there too. So I mean, Mercury and Mars are like literally locked into each other. They're both trining Jupiter. It is just like kind of going, like I said, leaning towards spiritual teachers, people who can make you feel safe in a way. That's gonna kind of help you, especially with the Mars, guide you towards a certain direction if you want to go take after that. So that is kind of crazy, actually. And then, like, the sun enters Aries, it gets into the middle of this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, hits Neptune first, kind of just, this is the first, like, conjunction. Is it the first one? I think it might be one of the first one. No, this is the first, I think, yeah, I believe this is the first Sun-Neptune conjunction in Aries, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think at the end of March, it was like the sun entered Aries and then Neptune, I think, entered Aries a few days after. So it wasn't the actual first one, but this is the first like internal illusion spark that is like literally opening up. And Neptune's in Aries, guys, now. So it's like huge, like this new spiritual confrontational, this new energetic, action-oriented kind of way of like perceiving our dreams and how we want to go after it. But then it runs into Saturn and it's just like, okay, what are we gonna do with this? And we can't just go, because this is another interesting thing I should add. The sun is exalted in Aries, but Saturn is in fall in Aries, because Saturn finds its exalted placement in Libra, the opposite sign. But when the sun is in Libra, it's in its sign of fall, which is kind of interesting, because the sun is like this center of the universe, center of this attention, and bright, in our face, just huge, heated kind of energy, ball of energy. And when it's in mostly all the fire signs, it's like very comfortable to be in. But when Saturn is here, Saturn is a very distant, cold, very far reaches out in the universe type of energy. So it doesn't like to be the center of attention. It has a boundary. It has a restriction. It likes to be kind of behind the scenes in a way. But Saturn is all about rules. It likes to, like I said, have a more responsible, structured way, being mature, being disciplined, having boundaries, restrictions, and kind of playing things by the rules. It literally is the structural society rules. Literally, Saturn is holding everything that society is basically doing. And when Saturn is in Aries, it's like, I feel like people are going to like take advantage of this like power that maybe Saturn and Aries doesn't work well right in. And like when Saturn's in Libra, it can play by the rules. It can be fair. It can be, very judicial, very just like, okay, what's good for everybody. Because Libra is about relationship, people, kind of signs. But then when Saturn's in Aries, it kind of brings it back to this individualistic, like, I'm going to use this power no matter what it is, no matter what the case is. And I don't know, I've learned that from like research, videos that I've seen about Saturn and Aries. So like I said, people are going to probably take advantage of this Saturn and Aries just for the hell of it because they want the power. And it might not work in a way. I don't know. It's super weird. But the sun is exalted in Aries. It comes up to Saturn. There's this like cold, it's like this hot and cold kind of blend energy, but I don't know, like it's a very steamy, like it's like the sun wants to heat up, but then Saturn's like, we got to cool this down. So it's weird. I don't know. I hope that makes sense, guys. Super weird. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Anyways, the next big thing is Venus is going into her home sign of Taurus, where she can just enjoy her spring home, her warmth, her luxurious sign of Taurus, and be just more sensual and just enjoy all the playfulness and just all the good stuff That's Venus and Taurus. We'll talk more about that, I think, in the next video. But one thing that I was like looking at this, one of the last literal like crazy like big transits happening. I wouldn't say it's crazy, but Saturn is making a sextile to Pluto. And guys, 6 years ago, literally, Saturn made a conjunction with Pluto and in 2020, and that was the whole, lockdown coronavirus kind of stuff, and that's just kind of crazy, like, because this is like the first like I guess big aspect between Saturn and Pluto. And these are both, very slow moving transits. This doesn't, like I said, this conjunction happened 6 years ago, and then it's like 6 years later they finally make a 60-degree angle. This is kind of crazy to think of, actually. I've been looking at this because it's like this is the outcome that we have been kind of gone through over the past 6 years, and it's just like it's been a hell of a decade in a way. So like I was looking at that and I was just like, this is crazy, because like when they met up in Capricorn, that was the whole, like I said, that was the whole like plague kind of like lockdown stuff that basically started, and then it just kind of unfolded slowly, and we were just like blown away about this. So just kind of reflect on like the progress that we have gone through, the structures that we have kind of shifted through. This is our chance to really kind of embrace some new type of power when it comes to just like working in society, or just working just with long-term goals, and kind of understanding there's some power when it comes to strength in numbers when you lock into certain people, I would think, and then you're using your own autonomy to really like kind of blend into this. Like Aries and Aquarius energy is interesting to me. Aquarius is about like, the outsider perspective, beyond the wall, trying new things and all that stuff. It's a very societal, like beyond, like seeing this so many different perspectives of how society and how we are a part of society and stuff like that. But then you get the Aries, the individualistic energies, and you blend it into this Aquarius energy. It's something new. It's a very unique kind of energy. So I don't know, I just wanted to add that and kind of end that, because that's literally the last of it. That's March, guys. Kind of crazy to even think of. March is interesting, honestly. Like, it's a really excited month, I would think, because it's like we're literally kind of ending, we're going through the eclipse season. We're ending the whole cycle since we started last March in Aries season. There's been a Mercury retrograde trying to help us go back over certain things, catch up all this stuff. We've had Saturn and Neptune in Pisces for the longest time, and then we kind of continue this Pisces energy as we go through March, and it's like lingering in a way, having the Mercury retrograde and then Mars kind of slowly going through its way. So it's like we're not done with the Pisces energy completely until April. I think Mercury will end up leaving Pisces April 14th, I believe. So that'll kind of be like the lingering up to that point where we have Pisces energy stuff in. So I will leave you with that. So thank you for enjoying. If you have listened to the whole forecast, we're going to be shifting into the horoscope. So let me kind of adjust my my screen here. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for just kind of hanging out and listening if you haven't listened to, because I'm on Spotify. You can listen to this on Spotify. You can get this early and follow me on Patreon. You can follow me on YouTube and watch this eventually when I post it at the end of the month. This should be out towards the end of, I usually towards it out at the end of the month or whatever. So this will be out. You'll see it. You'll see the shared if you follow me on TikTok and all that stuff, and Instagram. You'll share. I share these little clips and stuff like that. So let's get into the horoscope. So all right, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for being here, and thank you for enjoying the forecast. We are in the horoscope times. This is where the time sense will begin. If you want to start to just to let you know, this is going to be for Aries Rising. Okay, so if you are an Aries Rising, the first thing happening is you have a couple things happening. I mean, Mars enters your 12th house of Pisces. You kind of have this built up 12th house energy coming like happening for you. There's a lot of endings happening for you, a lot of things happening behind the scenes, very spiritual, maybe some subconscious things, and something a lot like your dreams might be very active at this point. It's like you're kind of just like all over the place, like kind of subconsciously, and you're trying to, or maybe you just want to, like, this would be a time to just kind of settle down, reflect, isolate yourself in a way. You kind of just, you have a lot going on for you guys. So I mean, just make sure your mental health is in check. Even if things kind of feel a little bit, wild. Usually when Mars enters the 12th house, I usually kind of just say there might be some subconscious impulses that just kind of pour out unexpectedly. So kind of just watch out. That is your ruler though. So I mean, yeah, it's just kind of just ending cycles where there's a lot of just like behind the scenes isolation and stuff like that. So make sure, take care of your mental health. Even though this is the North Node is here, it's actually trying to tell you, hey, this might be actually be a good idea to have more healing in this area. And on the other side of it, we have a lunar eclipse happening in your 6th house. And hold on, let me adjust this real quick. Okay. You have a lunar eclipse happening in your 6th house to kind of like ground all of this energy out, like I've been talking about when I mentioned earlier in this video. Whenever we have a lunar eclipse, or I should say a full moon in Virgo, it kind of grounds all of this Pisces energy, kind of brings it back down to earth, balances it out in a way. But this for you is like illuminating in a huge way, or revealing, I should say, some physical health issues, something to do with like your routine, something to do with like a systematic way of like working in a way. If there's anything to do with like pets, like taking care of a pet, or health issues with the pet, or just health issues for yourself, this will be a time for something to really pop off for you, to make you aware of something, just so you know, just so you're understanding something might, if something feels off, there's something that's going to be giving you some type of insight about that. Huge deal. Look back towards September to whatever was starting at that point. This is kind of like the culmination of what was starting, and then it's just like, oh, okay, so that's why that happened, or something like that. Just so you're aware of that. Next big thing is Venus is entering your 1st house of Aries, and she's kind of blending into this Saturn-Neptune conjunction. I won't talk too much about that. I did talk about that in February, but Venus in your 1st house, it kind of gives you this desire, this beautified kind of way of impressions towards other people. And, you might want to be a little bit more flirtatious, a little spicy in your impressions, personality. Maybe you want to dress a little bit kind of, in a way, sexy in a way, in some type of way, or something, I would think. But when Venus is in the 1st house, it's all about ourselves. It's all about our presentation, all about your body, your physical body. So impressions, your attitude. So maybe just kind of, I don't know, maybe you have this like internal like spark you kind of want to go after and do something, even if it's like something bad in a way. You want to just, like I said, you want to be, I don't know the right word. You want to be like a little reckless in the way you kind of, I don't know, present yourself in a more Venusian type of way, which is like kind of hot, kind of feisty, flirtatious. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, you're gonna have a lot more planets start to move into your 1st house of Aries over the next month, and so you guys are going to be really in the spotlight, I would say, especially when we get to April. We'll get to there eventually, but you're going to have like literally every planet in your 1st house, guys. So just kind of get ready for that, which could be kind of crazy, but I'm not going to. Anyways, the next big thing is Jupiter is stationing direct in your 4th house. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Where are we at? Okay, so Jupiter is finally done with its retrograde in your 4th house. So Jupiter's in your 4th house. Maybe whatever has been going on internally, like in your home life, maybe there's been some type of like internal growth that you had to adjust to, learn from, or maybe kind of like learn some type of ancestral like way of living, or taking care of yourself in a way. Even if you don't live with anybody, like maybe this has been a time of like, how can you take care of yourself? Since November, Jupiter's been in retrograde, so there's been this like deflated internal kind of growth, kind of like letting you seeing how you deal when it comes to like your home situation. Has there been any type of growth happening in your home life or your private life or your whatever's been going on, like with family, and like just has there been an extension of your family? Has there been some type of like, I don't know, just improvements, or like maybe you were trying to expand into a bigger home in a way? I don't know what has been going on since November that you've kind of had to take the reins on yourself to take care of your home life, your personal emotional well-being in some type of way. How has your beliefs changed in that type of way? Have you had a little bit more faith when it comes to just like taking care or just focusing on family or something like that? Because that's been the growth, and you have more of this, a few more months of this transit. But I don't know, like kind of reflect on this internal belief growth when it comes to family, home life, your emotional wisdom, security, your maternal instincts, your intuition, anything to do with that. Or yeah, like that's kind of just been this like little internal shift. But now it's like, okay, now you are gonna end up getting more, maybe some other more opportunities along the way to finish up this transit. The next big thing is the partial lunar eclipse in Pisces. Let me get this right. Let me try to adjust the chart again. Okay, whoops. Okay, so the one of the last things you have, like the solar eclipse, partial eclipse in Pisces, just to kind of like literally close the chapter out right before things kind of open and start a new chapter for you. It's in your 12th house. A lot of big shifts happening behind the scenes for you when it comes to like subconscious messages, dreams, your mental health. How have you been taking care of yourself? This is just one last chance to kind of clear the table and start new, start doing more stuff, purge out old things that you don't need anymore. If you've had any substances that you've been maybe just to like kind of cope with, maybe it's time to like let that go, or any kind of system, just to throw something out there in a way. Purging, mental health, hidden of like behind the scenes stuff, spiritual mechanisms. How have you got more spiritual in a way? Seclusion. Even if there's been some type of loss, this is the chance to like kind of get the healing. This is where the healing begins at this point, because this literally, like I said, is the ending point of the cycle. And then after that, the sun goes into Aries, and then Mercury stations direct. So, and then I believe Venus will go into your second house after that. So let's kind of get there. I know I'm like kind of going a little bit ahead of myself, but so Mercury's done with the whole retrograde. Maybe you've gone back and forth when it comes to certain like things, catching up on, spiritual, faithful things. Because Mercury in Pisces, it's kind of just, it has to be more open. It has to kind of just like, even if things don't feel clear, you have to just kind of just have this internal like openness, this internal feeling, this internal guidance to kind of just like have you like whatever, just go into whatever uncharted territories. I hope that makes sense. But Mercury is just finishing its time here. And it's still in the North Node. There's been a lot of like just spiritual guidance, or just guidance, or what is the word? Guidance towards anything when it comes to just this behind the scenes stuff. So maybe you have been kind of going back over some spiritual mechanisms in a way, and this is just like you finally understanding like it has been a test of faith, but you are kind of understanding at this point like what you've had to change or some type of way when it comes to plans, thoughts, dreams, or whatever it is when it comes to like behind the scenes stuff. So the sun enters your first house, kind of just lighting you up in a way, kind of gets passed through this Saturn Neptune conjunction, but lighting you up, starting afresh, giving you the energy, the rush, the spark of new life that is coming up to you. You're gonna have your ruler enter Aries next month, and that's gonna really pump up your energy in a way. So and then, like I said, Venus enters your second house. Maybe you're going to have to start to value more luxurious things. You're going to want to you know, maybe buy more comfortable things or buy more enjoyable stuff. And like, we'll talk more about that next month. But Venus in the second house, she's in her home sign of Taurus. This is going to be very lovely when it comes to possessions, receiving, increasing your savings in a way, which is possible. So yeah, that is going to be very, very lovely. Investments might be a good thing too. So I'll just leave it like that, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay, for Taurus Rising, so you have a couple of things happening right at the beginning of the month. So you got Mars entering your 11th house of Pisces, building up this Pisces Stellium that's been kind of happening over the past month or so. Excuse me, sorry. So Mars and Pisces, like I said, is kind of have this like internal blendable kind of leading with faith kind of direction in a way. And it's in your 11th house. So this is kind of, there's a lot of like group situations happening. Even if you had to, you know, work with a bunch of groups of people, put yourself in a, you know, like you have to work with other people. Let's just say that. There's a lot of things happening when it comes to friends, group situations, many like community opportunities, community services. There's a lot of things kind of just pointing in that direction for you. So this is just adding the whole directional path towards whatever blendable situation you want to put yourself in when it comes to working with other people. So maybe there's some type of like bonuses that kind of happen from a career at this point, possibly, because the 11th house is the extension of the 10th house that represents your career, your path, your like all that stuff. So maybe you and a group of people end up getting like some type of bonus or some type of reward, or like once you are working together or something like that. I don't know. Something like that. Hopes, dreams, alliances. You're kind of connecting with friends. You're connecting with people that really kind of guide you towards something more bigger than you ever expected, I would think, because you have the North Node in your 11th house. Everything else is in your 11th house. A lot of things are pointing towards that direction for you. You have the lunar eclipse happening in your 5th house of Virgo, and this is going to be one of the last, you know, full lunar eclipses in your 5th house of Virgo before this starts to change cycles. But like I was saying, the lunar eclipse is about revealing things. It's not only a full moon trying to kind of ground and put your feet back on the ground like a normal full moon in Virgo. This is like it is trying to balance out this, you know, 11th house Pisces stellium for you. So everything might be all over the place, might get lost in the sauce. You might just kind of just blend with other people and just kind of go out there and just kind of be expansive and stuff like that. But then the full moon in Leo was just, the full moon in Virgo, my bad, is like trying to like bring you back down and be like, wait, let's kind of get our feet back on the ground. But it's in your 5th house. So I'd like, there's some type of like personal creative like creativity coming out that maybe you weren't aware of. And let's just say you try something new when it comes to like your passions, and it literally kind of reflects our kind of like sends this energy towards this like 11th house, and it kind of brings some balance. Like let's just say you've never wanted to try a passion project or a hobby, and then this kind of like reveals something, and then it just like literally like lightens up this whole like 11th 5th house like energy for you. I don't know, just to throw that out there, I'm just spitballing here. But even if it's like not only a hobby or something personal creative, there might be something to do with like children. There might be something to do with like revealing some type of like romantic interest that maybe you weren't aware of, and then it kind of just like changes that perspective when it comes to like dating, romance, fertility, or if you're trying to have like children or something like that. I don't know, it could be anything. Dating, passion projects, bucket list stuff, romance, hobbies, creativity, children, self-expressions. there's a lot of like, if there's something that's been hidden in this fifth house area for you, something's coming out that you're going to be like, whoa, even if it's like unexpected, or it's like you have to just like you have to reveal something is being revealed for you. And it kind of just blends into this, balances this 11th, 5th house stellium happening here in Pisces. It could be anything, guys. So anyways, the next big thing is your ruler is moving into Aries, kind of blending into the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. It's in your 12th house, so there's kind of like this spark of new interest, but it's kind of like a more hidden type of desire when it comes to like what you want. Even if this is a relationship, you want to maybe, kind of not be so out there. Maybe you want to be a little bit low key when it comes to relationships or valuing certain things. Or maybe you want to kind of, value more spiritual, kind of pioneer, like just like spark a new energy when it comes to relationships. But it's like in a more behind the scenes, and it's not being seen, but there's some spark of interest that when it comes to like a relationship, when it comes to like something to like mental health, or I wouldn't say like mental health, but like I would just say like this is just like a relationship interest that you kind of just want to keep secret, but you have the desire to kind of like, that gives you like some spark of interest or something. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I'm spitballing here, guys. I mean, but I really hope it makes sense. A lot of things are going to just start to pile up in your 12th house eventually. So this is just adding the next domino and the next checkpoint and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, kind of stay low key if it comes to relationship stuff. I mean, kind of watch out. You do have Saturn here to like kind of give you some like reality checks, even if things kind of go a little bit too far and you're blending into something, and then it just like something happens, and then the consequences, you're like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't gone that far. Limit yourself. Just limit yourself and kind of be aware of that. Next big thing is Jupiter is stationing direct in your 3rd house. Dang it, hold on. Why is it doing that? Jupiter station is direct in your 3rd house. Whatever's been kind of internally going inward for you when it comes to like beliefs, growth, your like oh my god, I can't even say philosophical beliefs when it comes to just like emotional wisdom, but it's in your 3rd house of like your local environment. So Jupiter in your your local environment, let's just say maybe there's been a little bit of like personal growth when it comes to like your surroundings and stuff like that, or some growth when it comes to siblings, relatives, interacting with people. If you are on social media, maybe there's been a little bit of like growth happening there. Any writing projects, any transportational stuff, maybe you got a new car and you had to kind of fix, certain parts that actually at this point kind of brings you the better opportunities to have that better transportation. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Social life in general has probably been sparked in a way. You've probably encountered some more emotional connections when it comes to like local friends or people in your neighborhood or something like that. But now this is like going to bring you, a little bit extra more opportunities when it comes to this Jupiter in your 3rd house transit. But yeah, since November, there's been like this kind of inward, kind of personal, like how can you take care of, or how can you digest all of these emotional wisdom beliefs or something to do with your environment to like shift your perspective or something like that. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, the next big thing is, what is it? I feel like I skipped something. No, I didn't. Is the partial eclipse in Pisces. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is kind of like another ending type of energy when it comes to this Pisces energy. Let me see. Okay. This is just closing out the old chapters before we enter the new astrological new year. This is just kind of everything before we get into your 12th house of Aries. But it's in this partial eclipse in, excuse me. This partial eclipse in Pisces is in your 11th house. So this is just one last opportunity to kind of plant the seed and create this more opportunities when it comes to just groups of people, friendships, maybe some type of bonuses from your career life. Kind of expanding, I wouldn't say expanding, but just kind of just blending your audience, in some type of way. Your audience might grow in a way that you might be shifted in some type of way. Hopes, dreams, alliances, more acquaintances. You might just be your audience is just probably growing in some type of way. But this is just one last planting the seed in order to just like drastically see something change in this area of life for you along the way. And Mercury is basically stationing direct after that, as the sun enters your 12th house. So sun enters your 12th house of Aries. Like, you already kind of have this buildup happening here. This is just, like I said, ending cycles before they start moving into your first house of Taurus. But this is a new spark of life. This is a new spark of, like, even if things kind of feel like the energy is low, there is something like refreshing in a type of way. It's in your 12th house. There's a lot of purging probably happening. There's a lot of like just ending cycles. You're focusing on maybe more isolation, healing your mental side in some type of way. And it's just building up like a lot of stuff here. I would just say it's an ending of a cycle, but there is some type of spark happening. Subconscious, your dreams might be more active in some type of way, just to add that. Mercury is stationing direct in your 11th house to finish up this Mercury retrograde, back and forth, replanning on the North Node with Mars. A lot of his mental energy is still being active when it comes to connecting with people and stuff like that. Groups of people. And then I believe that's kind of it. And then the last full thing happens is your ruler, Venus, enters your first house to give you this beautified, like, just impression. Venus is entering her home sign of Taurus. So this is just gonna literally grant you more pleasure, more ease, more like a more personal, like your personality is just going to be just more calm, more stable, more just enjoyable. You're going to just like want to just, go out and lay in the flowers and just like ground yourself and just enjoy it, like soak all the sun in or something. That's kind of what it is, but I'll leave you with that. We'll continue this in next month. We do have so this is a huge eclipse month, guys, but just kind of ride the wave. A lot of changes are happening. We'll see you in the next month. Okay. So if you are a Gemini Rising, this is going to be your astrological forecast for March. So a lot of stuff is just building up in your 10th house. You have Mars entering your 10th house of Pisces. Just adding that extra, like, oomph, the direction, the confrontation, the energy. You're putting that all into your work life. And if there is some type of tension, because it is going to be squaring your first house, maybe you have a lot of authoritarian, superior energy over you happening in a way. But for the most part, as we're looking at this, we also have like a lunar eclipse happening in your 4th house as well. So there's this 4th and 10th house access being activated at this point. So Mars in Pisces in your 10th, adding that layer of just like career, your public life, profession, structures, responsibilities, skill sets, the actions you take, literally the actions you take, you are putting that out into the world at this point. People are seeing your reputation, even if it's kind of blendable. It's very chameleon-like. You want to do this and then go there and then kind of just go towards what feels right. The North Node is in your 10th, is in your 10th house too, to guide you towards, it's been probably guiding you to be more open. Your career, public life, reputation has been probably shifted, more open in a more drastic way. You have the lunar eclipse in your 4th house to reveal, something to do with your living situation. Something is coming up when it comes to family, when it comes to your maternal instincts, your intuition, how you use it, how, like, your property, something to do with like home, property, family, your internal instincts is kind of being revealed in this like home life career life kind of access is being like, you know, teeter-tottered, but like usually when we have a full moon in Virgo, it's kind of just grounding, getting back on the ground, because all of this energy is in Pisces. It's a very out there, blendable, kind of lost in the sauce type of energy, but then it just kind of brings us back to, you know, back down to earth in some type of way. But this is an eclipse, so this is like a drastic illumination. Think back to what was happening in September, possibly to give you kind of some insight of what was starting, what instincts you had in that was going on in your home life. We are at the 6-month mark. This is the illumination. Something is being revealed emotionally. So this is just, yeah, a lot of sparks are happening at this point. So home life, career life, it's just back and forth. It's a teeter-totter, but mainly everything is in your 10th house. But you kind of look at your, like, it's like almost, I wouldn't say it's like a work home life balance in a way, but like you can look at it in a way. Something in your home life needs to be balanced up, but instead of just putting all of this energy into your public life, I would just say that a lot of drastic changes are happening in your ancestral domestic life, I would think, at this point. The next big thing is Venus is going into Aries, shifting into your 11th house. This is just going to give you a more feisty, kind of sexy way of like just, you know, connecting with people, mingling with friends, meeting new people in a more like heated, very like hot, just kind of whatever, you know, like I said, it's kind of like a little spiciness. It's a flirtatious kind of way. But it's also about desire. So even if you have this spark, this new spark of interest that you want to just go after, to receive something, when it comes to 11th house themes, like groups of, like blending into groups of people and just kind of like going towards lifelong similar goals, that you can connect with other people and just kind of just receive whatever, like you want it first, like I want this, and let's get together and just go after it in some type of way. But blends into the Saturn Neptune conjunction, so there might be some restrictions, some consequences into knowing how far you can actually go, just to add that. Then Jupiter stations direct in your 2nd house. One sec. Okay. Jupiter stations direct in your 2nd house, so anything to do with like personal income. How have you kind of felt protective, or how have you since November had this like internal like growth that you have been? It's been like kind of letting you take the reins, take the wheel into adjusting your wealth, finding some like personal growth in when it comes to financial stuff, savings, security in general, investments, work ethic. Like there's been your growth, your money situation has probably grown in drastic ways, I would think. Or maybe you've put a lot of more energy towards emotional security or emotional things that make you feel safe when it comes to possessions, priorities, values, the way you are supporting yourself. This is like, how have your beliefs kind of changed in some type of way? There's been, like I said, an internal kind of shift happening for you, but then now you can move on and kind of understand the opportunities that have been granted to you when it comes to like your personal wealth and security. So that's really cool for you. Next thing happening is the partial lunar eclipse in Pisces, just to kind of end something happening in your career life. You're kind of planting one last seed before things kind of just start to grow in some type of way. Kind of refreshing the energies, clearing out the table, maybe shifting your reputation in some type of way. And that's just, you'll see it kind of blossom over time. But yeah, this is one of the last partial solar eclipses in your 10th house. So yeah, just adding one last layer of shifting something in your public life. So after that, everything just starts to move into Aries. The sun gets there. Your ruler stations direct in your 10th house, which is nice. So the sun moving into Aries in your 11th house is just putting the spotlight towards your audience, growing, just being a part of something bigger than you want. Like just it's focusing on friendships, groups of people, opportunities, community services, hopes and dreams, your audience. You're putting all of the spotlight onto this stuff, and you're kind of watching that grow. And your ruler, Mercury in your 10th house of Pisces, is getting back online. It's waking up. It's like, okay, now that we've done this back and forth reviewing, kind of open-mindedness, kind of like not really knowing what is coming up, but just kind of understanding like you've had to be more open when it comes to something in your career life, something to do with responsibilities, how you were structuring your profession, how you're structuring your life, any plans, actions, situations going kind of like adjusting to. This is going to be the time to like really like, okay, wake up. It's time to move forward. We've done the homework. Now we can actually, go towards whatever situation that we can actually blend into and follow this guidance in a way. And then after that, Venus will enter your 12th house of Taurus, and that is just very lovely. Venus enters her home sign of Taurus. That is just kind of like blending into, soaking in all of the luxurious Taurus warmth things that are happening in your 12th house. So this is kind of being a little bit more isolated. Like this is kind of like enjoying things in the background, not being seen, not showing people what you are enjoying, or kind of getting more, isolated or little secretive. I wouldn't say secretive, but just like more low key when it comes to maybe relationships. If you are in a relationship, you want to kind of keep things a little bit down low key. You might be wanting to value more spiritual connections, spiritual, like, just values that can help you like soak in all of this good feelings and stuff like that. Like that's what I would think of. That's kind of just how we end the month though. So we will see you in April. Okay. All right, if you are Cancer Rising, this is going to be your astrological monthly forecast for March. So a lot of things are just kind of piling up in your Pisces 9th house. Mars ends up moving in there, putting another layer of action, like desired directions towards expanding your horizons in some type of way. You're going to have this internal feeling of like, I do want to go travel. I do want to learn something that's going to give me the passion, the desire, the oomph to continue doing like whatever it is that you want to learn or teach or just expand into or even explore, no matter what it is in some type of way. Huge, a lot of guidance happening here. It's just like everything is just like trying to like raise your perspective to another consciousness level in a way. You have the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo happening in your 3rd house. So this is literally like the best way to describe this is like if you are trying to be more expansive, learn higher educational knowledge, the lunar eclipse in Virgo is like you got to understand the little details before you can actually understand or balance this whole energy transit out. Full moon in Virgo usually kind of just brings us back down to earth, put your feet up back on the ground, just so you don't get lost in the sauce of this Pisces energy. This is an eclipse. This is going to be revealing some huge emotional, just revealing something emotionally. 3rd house is about, like I said, it could be about some detail information. It could be about your social life, something to do with like siblings, short trips, trying to get all your ducks in a row, I would think. Something like, even if it's like transportation too, like you got to make sure you have, everything in checked. Like let's just say you're getting your car checked out, just so you can take this long distance trip, just so to say, just so you're prepared. And even if something kind of comes off, something's going to pop off and you're going to be like, I have to deal with this. Like, even if it's uncomfortable or something, there's going to be some type of detail being revealed in your local environment, to make you understand something is happening or whatever it is, I would think. So interactions, like I think that's the best way to just explain that. But yeah, we're going to move on. So next big thing is Venus is entering your 10th house of Aries. So Venus gets out of her exalted sign of Pisces, enters a Mars-ruled sign. She's kind of in detriment in a way, or exile in Aries, but she's in, she kind of gets this like more feisty, flirtatious kind of like very new spark of life kind of desire to go after and get what you want. It's in your 10th house. This is about your public life. This is about reputations. This is about structures, obligations, your something to do with like your career, like a role or something. Like if you want to, take a like, I guess get a higher rank or something, and you have the desire for that, you want to probably go out and get it. So it's like this will be the time to do it. She runs into the Saturn Neptune conjunction though, so there might be something that might not feel so clear, that might be like, oh, you really want it, but then there's there's like some reality responsibility checks that really kind of just slap you in the face, and you're like, is that what you really want, or something like that. I'm not trying to scare you, but just kind of just like get that perspective of like, maybe this isn't what I need at the moment. That's what I'll say. Anyways, but that's what I will say about that. The next big thing is Jupiter is stationing direct in your first house. Whoops. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm all over the place. Okay, why does it keep doing that? Hold on, guys. I know. I'm all over the place. So Jupiter is stationing direct in your first house. And Jupiter in your first house has probably been lovely, granting you the best just feeling protectionness since Jupiter's been in your first house since last summer. So since November, Jupiter's been in retrograde. It's been kind of like turning this expansive energy more inward. Maybe you've had to kind of take the reins yourself of being more protective on your own, like in a way. But Jupiter is about protection. Like literally, it is protecting the Earth of where we're at. Because Jupiter wasn't here, supposedly, we would probably not be here. And it kind of has this huge gravitational pull that really protects the inner solar system. So kind of think a bit of like that for yourself. Like, how have you felt more protective? Like has there been more like wisdom that you've been understanding or have been granted towards when it comes to your personality, your impressions, the way you put yourself out there, your physical body, something like that? How have you, been protective in some type of way? Like, I feel like that's a really good explanation too, because the first house is you, it represents who you are in a way. So your approach to life is probably been shifted in a huge way. What else can I say? Yeah, I mean, your appearance, body, your attitude, like a lot of beginning growth in a way, I would think. But yeah, look at it as that. But now you're gonna gain a little bit more opportunities to kind of just like a little bit more protectiveness lingers on over the next few months for that too. Very, very cool, guys. Next big thing is the partial solar eclipse in Pisces happening, just to kind of plant one more seed in this 9th house, higher educational, exploratory, expansive energy kind of house that has been happening. And you'll see maybe some more drastic changes happening in this area of life along the way. Maybe even the next 6 months, you'll see something happening. So yeah, that is just kind of adding another layer. And then basically everything kind of moves on, starts to move into Aries. The sun will get into your 10th house of Aries, and then Mercury will station direct, which is nice because then we have all the planets in direct station, and we're done with this delay stuff. Even though we still got post retrograde Mercury, stuff happening, but everything is direct. The sun enters your 10th house of Aries, new spark of life, a huge new spark of life when it comes to like your career life, your reputation, your public image, and stuff like that. Even if, like, let's just say you've been studying some educational things, courses in the 9th house, that kind of continues and leads you towards the right path in a career if you are working towards some type of educational course or something to level you up. And then now it's like, okay, now I can put in the time to actually work towards whatever goals that you want to work towards. Just be more just in the public eye in some type of way. It's going to be very huge. But yeah, it runs into the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Like I said, there might be some consequences you might have to face, reality checks, something like that is going to be happening, but it looks good for the most part. You're like, just rock, like, just keep keep going on. And then Mercury station is direct. Like I said, this is just kind of just literally what I was just saying. Now that you kind of going back and forth, let's just say you are learning educational systems or courses or information. Now you can actually put it to the test of like, okay, now I'm not delayed. I can actually move forward at this point and, you know, gain the right opportunities, I would think. And then the last thing happening is just Venus is going into your 11th house of Taurus to really just embrace all of the Taurus themes, luxurious stuff. It's in your 11th house of like groups of people, opportunities, like friendships, like hopes and dreams, alliances and stuff like that. Your audience, like everything is just gonna feel so good in a way. Like when if you blend into or connect with certain people, you find just like great connections and maybe meet new friends, and then they just, I don't know, it just feels enjoyable in some type of way. Like Venus is in her home sign of Taurus too, so like take advantage of that on transit too though. But that is about it. We will see you in the next month. Okay, where are we at? All right, for Leo rising, so as we begin the month, we have a couple big things happening here. Mars is entering and joining this 8th house stellium happening for you in Pisces for you guys. So just like this huge, like you instead of like Mars being in the 7th house of like kind of being more cooperative with other people, trying new things and stuff like that, trying to just kind of, have this desire to, have certain, unique ways with relationships and doing things with relationships. This just kind of gets a little deeper into the ventures that you may have with a partner if you are leading towards that kind of stuff. I mean, like we got a lunar eclipse full moon happening in your 2nd house. On top of that, this is money houses too, I should say. So a lot of these planets are in the 8th house, which is about, shared resources, intimacy, psychological connections, a lot of transformational energy, and it's kind of just like literally getting deeper into let's just say relationships, if there's any contracts when it comes to like refinancing anything or something to do with like debts and loans and all that kind of like fun stuff, I guess you could say. That is just putting all of that energy into there. Maybe having Mars here may help to cut out some of that stuff. Like it's about slicing and like cutting out some things. So maybe Mars in the 8th could help out with that. You might just have this blendable way of like kind of maneuvering through this time. Even if it's like cutting out some type of debt or something or like that. I don't know. It could be intimate too if you are trying to connect two financial systems together with a partner in a way. I don't know. A lot of things are happening in that 8th house for you guys. The full moon lunar eclipse in your 2nd house of Virgo is just kind of just trying to balance out, all these all like you're putting all this energy into like other people's shared resources and stuff like that. How is it kind of, how can you provide your own type of security or wealth? How can you balance out this stuff? Like I would think like shared, like 8th house is other people's money, 2nd house is your money. So how can maybe there's going to be some type of revealing happening here when it comes to your personal wealth and stuff like that. And how can it balance out this 8th house like stellium here in a way? Like a lot of financial stuff I would think is going to be focused around this time or drastically changed in a way because these are eclipses. So money things, personal wealth, your work ethic, investments, security, priorities, possessions, values, something is getting revealed that can drastically change this like teeter-totter, you could say, this balancing out. I would think, I hope that makes sense. A lot of money stuff is happening there too. So next big thing is Venus is entering your 9th house of Aries. A lot of spark. Now the fire energy is coming for you Leos, and it's just like, ooh, here it comes. And it's like everything's going to start to move in your 9th house, and you're just going to be like exploring and expanding in the most like craziest way possibly. So Venus entering your ninth house of Aries, you're gonna start to have this, this spicy, this feisty, this spark of new life type of interest when it comes to just like exploring new relationships, exploring new information, publishing, teaching. Maybe foreign things are going to be so attractive that you're going to want to like value all that kind of stuff. That's what I would think. That could be really cool. Next big thing happening is Jupiter stationing direct. And why does it keep doing that? Every time I try to do this. Jupiter stationing direct in your 12th house. So this is in your 12th house. There's kind of like behind the scenes, a very spiritual kind of energy that Jupiter has been kind of expanding for you. It's been in retrograde since November. So there's been a more internal like shift happening when it comes to understanding this spiritual wisdom or emotional spiritual wisdom in a way. How have you been kind of protecting your inner world? Even if when it comes to like your mental health, how has that kind of helped or provided, I guess, what kind of healing has been happening for you in that type of way? Something to do with like understanding subconscious messages or dreams have been kind of gaining you this some type of message that really like provides that emotional security, that safety, that's been happening. But now you get a little bit more extended opportunities and growth when it comes to this 12th house area for you over the next couple months. So that's looking really good, guys. Then we got the partial solar eclipse, I should say, in Pisces happening in your 8th house to just kind of plant one last seed, one last layer to kind of clear out anything that's been going on in this 8th house for you guys. So this is just adding another layer of what I've been talking about: shared resources, intimacy, refinancing stuff, like just kind of connecting your money with other people's money, paying off debt, something to do with like inheritance as well. Maybe you'll be receiving some type of inheritance from other people. That is also a possibility along the way after the solar eclipse. And then everything starts to move into your 9th house. Sun enters the 9th house, sparks a new life, sparks a new energy, sparks new interest when it comes to philosophical energies, expansiveness, exploratory, like just going out there. Maybe more traveling is going to be a possibility for you guys at this time. So that's going to be really fun. All of that fire is coming back to you. So that's going to be nice. And then Mercury stations direct, and then you finally kind of end the whole Mercury retrograde in your 8th house. You've gone over the plans, the situations, the delays. I've been maybe trying to figure out some money thing, or maybe something to do with like taxes, because we're kind of in tax season at this point. So that is also another possibility, just to kind of put that out there. Intimacy, all that kind of stuff, inheritance. You're finally moving forward. You get the green light. You're like, okay, I can move forward at this point, at this whatever. So after that, so hopefully it made sense. After that, and then Venus just enters your 10th house of Taurus, just to kind of enter her home sign of Taurus, to enjoy all the luxurious sensual pleasures when it comes to just like, but it's in your 10th house. It's in your, your public life. So maybe you end up starting to go out more and go to more, pleasurable places. And it's just like, it feels more enjoyable and you're receiving more of that like sensual, like just easy stuff. You're soaking in all the opportunities or something like that when it comes to and people are seeing that, you want to value more respect. You want to value more peaceful connections, more stable, like more structured, public life, I would think. That's a really good way of explaining that. So that's really cool. So yeah, that is basically it. And we'll see you in the next month, guys. For Virgo Risings, all right, welcome. This is your March horoscopes. So a lot of stuff is just building up into your 7th house as well. Mars finally enters and joins the party in your 7th house. So still a lot of activity happening with relationships, contracts, partnerships, something to do with like just, cooperating with people. But you also have a lunar eclipse, full moon in your 1st house. So even though everything is kind of like pointing towards other people, this is just like the moon is reflecting how you can be a part of these connections with other people or any contracts or business partnerships or whatever and all that stuff. But the full moon lunar eclipse is an eclipse. So there's something that's being emotionally revealed when it comes to who you are, your personality, your approach to life, something to do with your physical body. Is being revealed at this point. So this is just kind of balancing out how you come to the table when it comes to just with working with other people, connections with other people and stuff like that. There's going to be some drastic new changes that is shifting your personality and stuff like that. You have the South Node still here. That's been kind of shifting your whole being in a way, but this is just, the full moon is just revealing, it's illuminating something to do with you. And like I said, how can you balance out this Pisces Stellium when it comes to just what's going on at this time? And a lot of changes are actually happening at this point. Next big thing happening is Venus is entering your 8th house of Aries. A lot of spark of new interest when it comes to just relationships, getting a little bit deeper, intimate with other people. It's running into the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, so there might be some too good to be true kind of feelings when it comes to shared resources, intimacy, psychological connections, refinancing stuff, inheritance, and then Venus will run into Saturn, and then you'll kind of face some reality checkpoints, I should say, or just facing some type of reality consequences. I was thinking of. When it comes to this stuff, like even if this spark of new interest is valued, that you want to just be a little bit more feisty, sexy when it comes to just other people and just kind of take in a way. That's kind of Venus and but then like I said, you're gonna face some type of consequences. You got to know how to limit yourself when it comes to this stuff, guys. So next big thing is Jupiter stationing direct. Why does it do that? It keeps doing that every time I do this. Oh, there it goes back. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Wait, hold on. I'm screwing this all up. So Jupiter is stationing direct in your 11th house. So Jupiter's been in retrograde since November. So Jupiter loves to be in the 11th house. It's exalted in Cancer, so it kind of gives Virgo risings that double, like, just goodness, double blessings, I could say. But yeah, since Jupiter's been in retrograde, there's been a lot of just like, internal emotional growth, like letting you take the wheel and seeing how you can take care of yourself. But it's in the 11th house. I would just say like connecting with other people could bring you that security that can feel protective when you maybe work with other people or do more group activities with other people or just spend time with friends, and you have those emotional blessings when it comes to like that kind of stuff. Like I'm sure you've been granted maybe opportunities since Jupiter's been in here, and yes, the whole Jupiter retrograde has been kind of adjusting all of this stuff for you. I would lean towards like maybe spend a little bit more time with these friends or these groups of people that can really kind of bring the best out of this transit and stuff like that. So this is just adding another like turning point of like, okay, and your belief systems have probably changed in some type of way, I would think. But yeah, that's kind of what I would think. You're going to have a little bit more Jupiter opportunity, blessings happening next couple months. So that's really nice. The next big thing is the partial solar eclipse happening in Pisces in your 7th house, just to plant one last seed before something really kind of, ends, but kind of changes in a more drastic way when it comes to relationships, contracts, commitments, support from other people, or just like agreements and so like having you support other people, just kind of connect, like just relationships in general is being shifted in the most drastic way. And then the sun will enter Aries in your 8th house, and then your ruler Mercury will station direct, which will kind of get you back online. Mercury is waking up. It is not in retrograde at this point. So you're kind of going back over, you're finally being able to move forward past this delayed period that Mercury's been in over the last couple months. It is on the North Node still with Mars, so there's been a lot of like guidance towards other people, or these relationships probably have provided a little bit more emotional support or spiritual support or some type of support. And that's what this whole stellium has been building up in, since in your seventh house. I can't speak. And then all of this stuff starts to move a little deeper into your eighth house of intimacy, shared resources, inheritance, psychological connections, refinances. It just gets a little deeper, and this will continue as we get into next month as well too. So yeah. And then the last thing is Venus is entering your ninth house of Taurus to just embrace all the luxurious, sensual pleasures, enjoyments when it comes to just like higher learning, traveling, like going towards places that actually feels so good. Like soak it all in. Like if you have any like good feeling places or travel destinations that you want to go after, this will be the great time to do it. This will be just so lovely to just have Venus in her home sign to just embrace all this stuff. Maybe you'll want to value more foreign cultures or foreign people or foreign relationships in a way. That's also a possibility, but just expansion, philosophies, learning, traveling, all that kind of stuff. That is just going to be, the continuation as she gets into a Taurus. So that's really cool. And I believe that is it. So we'll see you in the next month, guys. Okay, so for Libra risings, we start the month with Mars going into your sixth house. This huge stellium happening in your sixth house here, guys. Just to kind of give you the boost of energy, that new kind of shift of where you want to put your energy, your actions into. And this is in your sixth house of like daily routines, work stuff, maybe just being more active. Physical health is a sixth house theme. So maybe you want to kind of blend into the right situations or blend into the right actions in order to keep your physical health in check. Maybe you start working out or doing some type of workout routine that can kind of get you more adaptable, or just like that helps you along the way with this, energy that you are putting into. And it's just adding another layer of this huge stellium happening in your sixth house. You have a full moon in Virgo. This is a lunar eclipse in Virgo happening in your 12th house to reveal something behind the scenes for you. I always like to say whenever the moon is in the 12th house, the sun is like the flashlight, and it's shining its light in this kind of hidden dark area, and you're seeing all of these like cobwebs and spiders and like uncomfortable just things in your closet that you weren't aware of. And this is going to be a huge like illumination when it comes to that stuff, guys. Usually when I say a full moon in Virgo, kind of gets you back down to earth, kind of grounds this Pisces energy in a way. But yeah, like this is an eclipse. This is in your 12th. This is about like I said, revealing like addictions, revealing some mental health stuff, some loss, some separation, some seclusion. But even if there's a little suffering in some type of way, but I would think this is just revealing, like this is purging a lot of stuff out in your like behind the scenes kind of area. Like you might have like your dreams might be a little active. You might be getting messages in your dreams from like some subconscious things that are happening in your head or whatever. So just these are health houses. So just make sure that your health is in the best way possible. Excuse me. Because this is just kind of revealing something is coming out of the blue, and you're gonna face it, which can be drastically good or bad. It doesn't matter. Eclipses are unpredictable. Venus will enter your seventh house of Aries to spark some new interest when it comes to relationships, business contracts. You might want to value some new things and just take it, just take what you want. It is kind of blending into the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So it might feel too good to be true when it comes to things that you want. But then you're going to face some reality checks or consequences when it comes to maybe it's not, or maybe you need to take a little bit more time when it comes to just like, wanting what you want in a way. So just kind of understand that's what's going on. But for the most part, you might just, when it comes to relationships, you might want to start to attract more, feisty, sexy kind of people in a way, or just more flirtatious. You might, that can help you or something like that. I don't know, but it's fun. It's a very enjoyable kind of just, being a little creative in a way. She's in detriment, but I mean, it's like I said, you'll face whatever you have to face. But yeah, this is just this is going to be a continuation of these planets going into your seventh house over the next month, guys. So I will continue talking about that. The next big thing is Jupiter is stationing direct in your 10th house. So whatever has been maybe kind of internally like deflating when it comes to growth opportunities and stuff like that. This is just Jupiter waking up and being like, okay, now that I've given you you've took the wheel of like how you can like shift this emotional security, emotional wisdom, emotional beliefs when it comes to your career life opportunities, kind of just your public reputation and stuff like that. You've probably had a little bit more protectiveness in a way when it comes to maybe your career, the role you are trying to like go after, just your reputation in general. But this is going to give you one last chance to, regain some opportunities, maybe that you weren't aware of, or just adjust to certain things that can really help some like public growth in the most like protective way possible, I would think. So that's looking really good for you guys. And then the next thing happening is the partial solar eclipse happening in your 6th house of Pisces, just to add that little planted of seed, just to kind of, top everything out that has been shifting in your, 6th house at this point. There's been a lot of back and forth. You've had a Mercury retrograde here. You've had a lot of like planets shifting from Pisces to Aries. So this is just adding another layer, clearing the table, making sure that everything is going in the right direction when it comes to your physical health, work routines, getting all of your ducks in a row, like something to do with like supplements, just getting your health in check, getting your routine and your daily stuff, like your system in order in some type of way. Even if it's been kind of, blending, you've been kind of doing whatever you can to, you're just blending your routine into whatever system or whatever. But the solar eclipse in Pisces is just kind of, you'll see the remnants, I should say, after this point on, and you'll be like, okay, it feels different here in a way. And then Mercury basically stations direct as the sun enters Aries, I should say. So the sun's in your 7th house of Aries, and then Mercury is stationing direct. And that is kind of like your green light to just start to move forward when it comes to, just like I said, this reputation of your systems, your work routines, these things that kind of get your physical health back in check and all that stuff. And then the sun enters Aries. It's exalted here. It is like putting the focus on relationships, commitments, supporting other people, maybe just like having all these new partnerships it's just putting the spotlight on these guys, partnerships, relationships, supporting other people, unionizing with other people, like starting new commitments and stuff like that. And yeah, it looks good from this point on, guys. So this is just the continuation of the Aries stellium happening here. And then after that, Venus enters Taurus. It's in your 8th house. So like if you have a partner, this is just going to be a great time to just really get more intimate and really kind of embrace the whole, sensuality, this enjoyment, this, the Venus in Taurus, she's in her home sign, just like all the feel good stuff when it comes to getting deeper in with relationships, or just valuing more like shared resources, or kind of blending your two finances with a partner and kind of making it a little bit more easy and peaceful if you have some type of financial struggles. Just receiving, maybe you might be receiving more inheritance when it comes to just anything. So money, intimacy, psychological connections, just all the good feelings when it comes to all that stuff. That's how that transit's going to end up, I would guess, for you guys. So I believe that is it. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I will see you guys in the next month. Okay, for Scorpio risings, so you have Mars entering your fifth house, just building up this huge stellium, adding another layer to this Pisces stellium for you guys in your fifth house. So, alongside you have a lunar eclipse in Virgo. Excuse me. So, I mean, Mars entering your fifth house, joining the party is just kind of getting you this blendable kind of way of just doing things. And you're kind of just, kind of just going with the flow, when it comes to your creative side, creative hobbies, anything to do with like romance or dating. You might just kind of you just go with the flow. Let's just mingle with people, kind of, have a little fun or whatever, I don't know, just kind of do. But this might give you the, just more, the desire to kind of follow your passions or more inspirational stuff. Maybe something to do with like your bucket list. You want to just kind of, do a little bit, check off things in your bucket list. That's kind of like the Mars in the fifth house. You want to do stuff that's just kind of just, it's enjoyable. And there's so many planets in water signs. So, I mean, this is really enjoyable for you and all the other water signs as well, I should mention. But then also, like, like I said, you have the full moon lunar eclipse happening in your 11th house to kind of reveal something to do. Like, let's just say the fifth house is all about your creative side, what you're performing and stuff like that. And then the 11th house is your audience and stuff. So it's like friendships, groups of people, just communities and opportunities and stuff like that. So maybe all of this stuff that you are trying to maybe, do when it comes to like your creative performances, your talents and all that stuff. There's going to be some huge shifts, I would think, happening for like just your audience of how people view you in some type of way. Maybe you kind of rein in certain people or the right people that can actually enjoy what you do in some type of way. But there's going to be some huge changes when it comes to friendships, something being revealed, groups of people, colleagues, like just networking with people, alliances, connecting with the right people, like, because it's a groups of people, groups of it's literally the audience. It's like your customers in a way if you are doing a business or something like that. There's going to be some huge changes happening, maybe granting you the right opportunities that you weren't aware of, and it's just like something is like coming out and you're like, whoa. So a lot of changes happening in your 11th house at that point. So yeah, think back to maybe September if there's anything that was starting at that point. This is kind of the 6-month checkpoint to like reveal something that was going on that started at that point if you want more information on that. So next big thing is Venus is entering your 6th house of Aries. Venus in your 11th oh my god, I can't even talk. Venus entering your 6th house just kind of shifts the whole, vibe when it comes to like blending into anything that you want to attract. I mean, she enters Mars ruled sign, so it's a very like, I want to take what I want and I'm going to go after it and, take. It's a very feisty, fiery, kind of hot, sexy, kind of like, I'm going to just take what I want in some type of way. I mean, in your 6th house, like it's kind of, because your 6th house is about like physical health. It's about your daily work routines. It's about like actually the grind that you have to do in order to support yourself. And having Venus here, you might want to maybe value some type of like action oriented routine or something like systematic way of like attracting things that you want. I think that's like the best way possible that I can explain that. It runs into the Saturn Neptune conjunction, so there's maybe some type of too good to be true feelings happening here. But then you're dealing with reality checks of consequences of maybe if you go too far, you're gonna face some type of like, oh, I shouldn't have gone that far type of way when it comes, especially when it comes to your health and way. So I would kind of watch out with that. I don't know. That's just something I'm just spitballing here. I hope that made sense though. So yeah, let's move on. Let's see. Jupiter is the next thing. Jupiter is stationing direct. Why is it doing that? Hold on, guys. This is not it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Jupiter is stationing direct in your ninth house. So, I mean, all Jupiter's been in retrograde since November, and it's been in your ninth house of like this higher belief system, this philosophical like perspective of everything. And it's in Cancer. It's been about like protectiveness, having like I would think just like there's a lot of growth happening. Like even if it's like this higher perspective, this like travel, something to do with like traveling, you know, leaning towards like teachers or gurus or any religious people to maybe kind of help you feel more protective in some type of way to gain you that, you know, that higher perspective, or that just that safety, that security when it comes to having that knowledge. Or even if this is like a more educational lens that you have been kind of working towards, or you've been trying to provide more growth here, this will kind of, I would think, expand more knowledge, more like, just like I said, some higher educational wisdom that can help. And actually, I would feel give you the protection as towards any like higher educational like path that you want to maybe grow into. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, guys. So yeah, I mean, even if there's like some type of legal matters that you've kind of adjusted your beliefs to, even if you've had to deal with some type of law or something to do with that, has been kind of shifting your perspective on a lot of things there too as well. So, next big thing is the partial solar eclipse in Pisces, to just kind of top off, you know, one last seed planting, one last kind of clearing of this fifth house area for you guys. Maybe it's some drastic changes with like maybe some children or some creative hobby like I've been talking about. And then after like you'll see the remnants happening along the way, and you're like, there's been some huge change happening here. And that's kind of just like how we're ending the Mercury retrograde as well too. So and then the sun will enter, you know, your sixth house, and then Mercury stations direct. So, I mean, as the planets start to, you know, they will start to continue in your sixth house, building up this huge stellium over the next month. I mean, the sun is exalted in Aries. There's this spark of new life happening here. A lot of these things are just focusing on your, like I said, your systematic routines, your health, your physical health. Make sure everything's in like this is like the focusing on the daily grind, I would think, because this is like the workhouse. This is like you have to provide, you have to do this, that, just to provide something for you. And there's a lot of energy that's just like a lot of spark, a lot of new interest, a lot of sparks of just new life, I would just say. New ways of doing your work routines and stuff like that. I don't know. It'll continue. And like I said, Mercury stations direct to finish off what was been going on. Like going back over planned situations when it comes to like fifth house things, your creative side, your creative expressions, something to do with children, you know, inspirations, passion, bucket list stuff, dating, desires, romance, all that kind of stuff is just like, okay, now you're finally getting the green light to move forward after this delayed time. And then after that, I believe Venus is entering your seventh house to enjoy all of this pleasurable, sensual, like relationship connections, I would think, because she's in her home sign. It's in your opposite sign. So there can be a lot of attraction as when it comes to like other people in relationships. So that can be fun in a way. But loves to be in Taurus. Like I said, this is just like soaking in all of the Venusian spring warmth connections when it comes to it's in your seventh house. That's why I'm saying connections, relationships, commitments. Like I would think starting to value more stronger commitments or stable connections will be a more possible, you know, outcome as she travels through this seventh house for you. And that's basically how we end the month too. So I really hope that helps. We will see you in the next month. Okay, for Sagittarius risings, I'm with you. I'm a Sag rising myself, so let's get into it. This is our March 2026 forecast horoscope, you could say. So a lot of stuff, is starting to build up, has been building up in our fourth house. A lot of things going on in our home life, or whatever's going on in our bottom of the chart. Mars enters the party, and we kind of just, shift this blendable, action oriented, desire to maybe do more things around the house, or just kind of like, I don't know. I wouldn't say like have this protectiveness, but I feel like our intuition is going to be really like what will guide us through this transit in a way. I mean, yes, we have all this water energy kind of, squaring our Sagittarius first house, on top of lunar eclipse in Virgo, kind of just like pointing towards like that's like a T square happening for us if we have any Sag or even Gemini placements, kind of just like point towards us in a way. But a lot of tensions possibly could happen, for better or worse. I mean, this is Pisces energy. It's never the easiest time for us Sagittarius, but once all the planets start to get into Aries, it'll start to bring up the fire back, and we will start to feel a little better throughout the month. But before we get there, I mean, there is a lot of drastic changes happening for us. Like I said, we have a lunar eclipse full moon in Virgo, revealing something to do with our public life, something to do with like our career path, our reputation, the way that we structure our life, or just anything. Like there's something being revealed in a very drastic way, like for better or worse for us. Because it's trying to balance out everything that's going on in our home life right now, possibly, or something to do with like family, our like the foundation that we're trying to like level, like keep stable on, but it might feel like kind of all over the place in a way. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but I feel like the full moon, let alone it's a full moon in Virgo, opposite this stuff, trying to balance out whatever is going on in this fourth house area for us. Trying to, get our feet back on the ground in a way, get a little bit more grounded. But like I said, there's a lot of, like, I guess you could say, emotional revealing illuminations happening here in our public life. So we've been having these eclipses in our fourth and 10th house over the last year, or a year and a half, I guess you can say. But this is just one last big reveal in some type of drastic way. So even if it feels a little intense, it's all good. There's just a lot of changes happening, that we are going through eclipses. This is just how it is. But yeah, 10th house, 4th house is just kind of being activated, and through these eclipses. The next big thing is Venus is going to enter our 5th house. And like I said, once the planets start to get into fire signs of Aries, we're going to start to feel that fire, that spark again, and it's going to feel good, So Venus entering our 5th house will, kind of give us that little flirtatious, feisty sexiness when it comes to wanting to value just certain things. Even if this is just mingling with people and you want to get a little bit more romantic, this could be a good time. But there's a but. It runs into the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, so there might feel like, oh, this might feel too good to be true, but there's some type of reality consequences that we might have to face and limit ourselves to be like, yeah, I don't know if this is gonna last. If there's some type of situation happening, I'm just throwing that out there. But, just valuing just your passions, and kind of just, that's what you're gonna want to like eventually like, kind of take. Venus in Aries is very taker. Like, I'm gonna go for this, and I'm just gonna attract and take it, and just be more active and stuff like that. So, but just, I would just say it's a good time to just, like do some hobby, do some creative talents and stuff like that. So, the next big thing is Jupiter is stationing. Why is it doing that? It's been doing this whole time. I'm like, what are you doing? Jupiter is stationing direct in our 8th house of Cancer. So, I mean, we've had our ruler in retrograde since November, I believe. So now that our ruler is like waking up, it's stationing direct, we can finally maybe feel a little bit more hopeful, but I feel like since Jupiter's been in Cancer, let alone a retrograde, it hasn't been that bad of feeling so hopeful or lost in a way. Because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, it loves to be here. So whatever Jupiter is doing, we need to pay attention to. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just me over the last few months. I feel like this Jupiter in Cancer retrograde hasn't been the worst retrograde ever because I feel like other times we've maybe just in my personal life that it's been so helpless or hopeless in some type of way. But I feel like there's been a lot of growth happening overall. But this is an internal growth and it's in an eighth house. This is about like other people's money, shared resources, intimacy with other people, like really getting that connection, that deep psychological connection with other people. Even if this has been like some type of inheritance, like have you been gaining a little bit more like cash or whatever, a little money or something? Like, I feel like in my personal life, a lot of people have just been like literally like just giving me money and I'm just like, okay, thanks. Like, I don't know, it just seems like that and just working. I've had a lot of like just it just seems like that's been very like it's been growing in a really good way. So that's been lovely. That's where the blessings have been happening. That's where the growth has been happening. Jupiter has been trying to like give us that protection when it comes to just like this inheritance of some type of way. I would think paying off debt has been maybe a little bit easier. Our beliefs about debt and loans and all that kind of stuff, like shared resources, have shifted in the last few months, at least in my perspective. But yeah, that's kind of a good explanation. But we still have Jupiter in Cancer until the end of June, so a few more months, which is really nice. But then Jupiter will get into Leo, and that's a whole other thing. So, but just embrace and take advantage of the rest of Jupiter in Cancer. I am going to be loving the rest of it. I'm just saying, I'll leave it at that point. So we have a partial solar eclipse in our fourth house of Pisces, around the 18th or something. This is just kind of adding another layer of planting a seed, making sure that everything is going to be, changed in the best possible way, and it will. This is an eclipse time, so let the universe shift our lives, and it's in our fourth house of home life, the foundation that we kind of planted our life path on, family, our intuition, our maternal instincts, our property, like all of this subterranean, energy is having one last shift, one last turning point. And we'll see the remnants of this as this transit, progresses over time, before everything starts to move into our fifth house of Aries. And then that's when the sun enters Aries. That's going to feel good. I always love it when we get to Aries season. I'm actually wearing the Aries merch at this point from last year. So maybe I'll be releasing the new one at this point, but on my website. But yeah, Aries season. This is the new spark of life. This is the new fire coming back. Yes, we still have a lingering of Pisces energy until like the middle, sometime of April, sometime in April, because we still have Mars and Mercury in our fourth house. Mercury is stationing direct. They're both kind of on the north node, a little bit. Mercury's more on the north node, but there's been a lot of internal guidance when it comes to this north node in our fourth house. But yeah, now that we're done with the Mercury retrograde, we can finally move forward and, kind of just, ride the wave and stuff like that and just kind of finish off this Pisces energy and stuff. So that's going to be really nice. And like I said, as the planets start to move into Aries, we're going to have a huge stellium happening in April at the next time. So it's going to be, we'll feel all that fire back and things are going to be moving like quick in a way. A lot of new sparks are happening at that point. And then the last thing happening is Venus is entering our sixth house of Taurus to get into her warm spring sign of Taurus. So we can at least try to embrace all of the sensual good feelings when it comes to like just, Venusian things. It's in our sixth house. So, I mean, this is trying to create more stability through routines and a structured way that can actually feel a little bit more peaceful, but that can feel long lasting. And we're going to want to value and attract all that stuff. Because I feel like, because it's in Taurus, Taurus is about, long term, grounded, just stability and security and stuff like that. And having Venus here will kind of provide that layer of like, here's a more stable way, a routine that we can at least follow by, and then we'll end up receiving the most, the best out of this transit. So that's how we end the month. We'll see you guys in the next video. All right, for Capricorn Rising, so Mars enters your third house of Pisces alongside the lunar eclipse full moon in Virgo happening around the same time. So this third house stellium is just kind of building up, especially when Mars gets here. I feel like might have this like blendable, action-oriented desire to just kind of go with the flow and just kind of do things around your neighborhood in some type of way. There's a lot of things happening maybe in your local environment, maybe something to do with like your siblings or some type of like short trips are going to be that might give you the desire to do more short trips in a way. A lot of just like local rituals you might want to start doing in your neighborhood with maybe local friends or neighbors and stuff like that. But a lot of things are kind of being shifted in the most drastic way in your third house and along your ninth house as we get the full moon in lunar eclipse in Virgo. So this is going to be just revealing something. And it's in your ninth house. This is going to be like revealing some like higher consciousness, higher learning, something to do with like philosophies and travel, like long distance traveling, or something to do with like any legal matters, or something to do with like the law will be reviewed at this time. Or if you are trying to maybe get a little bit more basic educational like focus on certain things, this could at least maybe provide some type of revealing when it comes to like going towards the right path when it comes to like higher educational courses or some type of situation, or even just any foreign cultures or anything foreign might kind of, I guess, be revealed for you, and to help balance out this like this stellium happening in your third house. I hope that makes sense. I mean, it could be anything, but a lot of traveling, educational stuff is just really just getting focused at this point. And it's in Virgo. I mean, it's in an earth sign. A lot of stuff is probably okay, how it's connecting to your first house, but earth and water. But yeah, I would say a lot of new truths are going to be kind of revealed in some type of way. And this can even be political views as well. So just to add that too. Next big thing is Venus is entering your fourth house of Aries. And I mean, she runs into the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, but usually, I mean, Venus is entering her sign of detriment or exile. I feel like, well, usually when I talk about Venus in the fourth house, excuse me, at least what I think, at least, there's a lot of renovating or redecorating around your home life or something like that. Maybe you want to have like she's with Neptune right now. You want to like create more like sparkles, and you want to just go after some feisty, some just like kind of sexiness, kind of, let's just say, decorations, or just like you just want to just spark up your home life in some type of way. I don't know. I'm not trying to get like too crazy, but I mean, Venus in your fourth house, you're just gonna want to value more like just what would I say about that? Let's see. Just a lot of energetic. You might be doing a lot of stuff maybe around your home with with relationships around your home, or just, I don't know. I mean, you might just want to have this desire to just kind of do, spice up your home life, I would think, and not in like a gross way, but just like in a just a new kind of way, new vibe or something. I don't know, like a lot of people are, a lot of, not a lot of people, a lot of planets are going to start to move into your Aries fourth house. So your home life is going to be really focused over the next month too. But she runs into, Neptune, all glitter is now gold. You might want to do a little bit more sparkles here. And then it's just like, oh, you got to face some type of, reality checks or consequences if you did too much or something like that. I don't know. But a lot of just valuing a lot of stuff at the home and stuff like that. I'll continue to. Okay, next big thing is Jupiter is stationing direct in your seventh house. So a lot of opportunities when it comes to relationships, and growth and protectiveness has been probably, provided a lot more, growth when it comes to other people, and how you can grow from these relationships or these contracts or any partnerships in some type of way. Your beliefs have probably changed in some type of way. Jupiter's been retrograde in since November. So I mean, this internal growth has been kind of shifting your viewpoint when it comes to relationships and your beliefs about that too as well. So you can have a little bit more opportunities when it comes to relationships over the next couple months, as Jupiter goes along. And the next big thing is this stellium, this not the stellium, this partial solar eclipse in Pisces happening in your third house for you guys, for Cap Risings. Just kind of just plant one last seed, one last clear in the air, one last drastic shift for your third house of like communication, education, your local environment, some type of way. You're gonna see some type of drastic change along as this energy progresses along the way, and you'll see the remnants of that too. So a lot of just social interactions, siblings, short-term trips, basic education, a lot of rituals are just going to be shifted in some type of way. So after that, then everything, like I said, starts to move into your fourth house. The sun will get there. It'll spark some type of new life when it comes to your home life. Maybe doing a lot of things at home, spending more time at home, spending more time with family. Just kind of just building up this fourth house stellium for you along the way. And then Mercury stations direct, basically the same time, to finish up this retrograde that it's been in over the past couple months. You can get the green light when it comes to just kind of just going with the flow when it comes to your, trying to get your ducks in a row when it comes to like your educational information and transportation, stuff like that. And then you can kind of like move forward and stuff like that. So it shifts into your fourth house along the way. And then you basically have Venus entering your fifth house of Taurus, which will towards the end of the month. And that's going to really like bring more groundedness, more sensuality, energy when it comes to just like your fifth house things. Create your creative side, maybe mingling and dating in some type of way could be a good way to embrace this energy, and it could feel good. It is an earth sign. You could just feel all that goodness, all that pleasures and creativity. Something to do with like children might feel good too. Just enjoying some type of creative hobby in some type of way. Hopefully that made sense. I know I was a little off, but we will see you in the next month. All right, for Aquarius Rising, so Mars enters your second house and kind of just adds another layer to this Pisces stellium happening in for you, alongside the lunar eclipse full moon in Virgo happening around the same time. So you have a lot of stuff in your second house of like your personal wealth, like trying to blend your security in the most, I guess, best way possible. And there's a lot of like spiritual guidance, or like, what is that the right word? Guidance, towards having more security and kind of being more open and blending into whatever is going on here. Like I said, yeah, Mars here, you have this desired action to maybe do a lot more things, or kind of just be more blendable when it comes to your work ethic, or just trying to put your energy towards more like, I don't know, spiritual investments in some type of way. I don't know. But you also have, like I said, the full moon lunar eclipse happening in your eighth house over here, revealing some type of like shared resources, some type of like not physical, psychological, like connections, or some information, I would think, about like a refinancing system, or something to do with like other people's money, from a partner, from like loans or debts, and all that stuff is going to be like revealed in a very drastic way, for better or worse. So it's just trying to balance out like all of this energy is put into your possessions, your financial security. You're trying to do all this stuff for yourself. And then it's like the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo is trying to help balance out like maybe some money situations. And it's like maybe some other people can help transition this, security in the more craziest way possible, but it ends up working out for you guys, I would think. So something like that could happen. I would think so, because these are money houses too. So I mean, you're gonna see your money situation has probably been shifted in the most drastic way. Look towards September if there's anything happening or starting at that time. This is kind of the 6 month checkpoint that's being illuminated since that point. So if you want more information, next big thing is what is it? I think it's Venus going into Aries. So Venus enters Aries in your third house, kind of gets in between the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So there's like this spark of new interest, this feistiness, this, you want to just be a little bit more feisty. I wouldn't say feisty, but just like you have this like this passion, this fire that's kind of like lighting you up. And Venus is in her sign of detriment in Aries, but there's some like it's almost like a taking energy. Like you want to just take whatever you want, whatever seems like, oh, I want this. Like you're gonna go after it and take it in some type of way. But like I said, she runs into the Saturn Neptune conjunction. It's in your third house, so this is like maybe short trips, something to do with like siblings, something to do with like basic education, something to do with like transportation or social life. Like things might feel too good to be true. Like I said, you want to go after and take it, but then there's some type of reality consequences that you might have to face, and it's like, ooh, I went a little too far and on that or something like that. I don't know, something that that's what I've been like kind of saying for every sign. But next big thing is Jupiter stationing direct in your sixth house of Cancer. So Jupiter's been retrograde since November. So this this expansive growth has kind of turned inward and deflated more internally, and you've kind of maybe shifted your beliefs, shifted your way of feeling protective when it comes to maybe the daily grind, your daily work routines, trying to find the most protective way to make ends meet, and your belief systems and your perspectives on this stuff has been kind of shifted in a new way. It is the sixth house is about, your physical health. So maybe something to do with like that is another shifting belief perspective that has been shifted for you. So like make sure that you are getting you're taking care of your physical health in some type of way, like all that kind of stuff. So we still have a little bit more of Jupiter in Cancer over the next couple months to give you any extended opportunities when it comes to that kind of stuff. Next big thing is the Pisces solar eclipse. So one last thing happening for your personal security, your personal wealth, your financial side and stuff like that. Is just adding another layer, planting it one last seed, and you'll see that progress and blossom over time, whatever's being drastically shifted for you guys in this part of chart, which is literally your money. So your money situation or possessions, priorities, values, work ethic, security, investments, your wealth has probably been shifted and will continue to shift in more crazy ways. In a way, I wouldn't say crazy, but like better or worse kind of ways, I would say. And then after that, the sun enters your third house to put the spotlight on your local environment, giving you more sparks of interest and just around just being more, just maybe being more active in your local environment. Like, kind of spending time with close friends or being on social media, or finding people who have shared interests as you, and just kind of riding with it. It could be fun a lot. Like it's Aries energy, it's gonna spark some fire. It's gonna feel good. Especially once they get past the Saturn Neptune conjunction. But I mean, other than that, there's a lot of planets going into Aries in your third house, so just get ready for that. I mean, a lot of things are just a huge fire is building up when it comes to like information, short trips, your siblings, I don't know. We'll talk more about that next month. But Mercury stations direct basically the same time. So you're done going back over some personal financial stuff. like, how do I get my security good? How am I kind of blending into this and that? And it's giving you the green light. It's like, okay, we've done the homework. You can finally understand what you've had to replan for when it comes to your personal wealth and stuff like that. So, and then that's kind of how we end the month. And then Venus enters your fourth house of Taurus. Whoops. Hold on. She enters your fourth house of Taurus to, I would think, just kind of enjoy the more Venus and Taurus sensual pleasures around your home. I was saying in, I think, the last horoscope, whenever Venus goes into the fourth house, it kind of has this, you like it's a good time to decorate your home. And I would feel like for Aquarius Risings, having a Taurus fourth house, maybe put more like spring like, or just like a lot of like plants and flowers around your home. I don't know, do you guys have that in your house? I'm that's all I'm thinking, because like Taurus is about like agriculture, like plants and like the earth and just more earthy things, like even if it's like senses or like the scent, those little I don't know, incense, is that what they're called? Put those in your house. I mean, I feel like that's a more that could help you enjoy this type of stuff, and just try to create a more stable like household. I would think that's kind of what I would think of, but like that. I'm all over the place. That's funny, but and that's kind of how we end the month. We will see you in the next month, guys. Okay, so hopefully this works out. It always like messes up when I get to Pisces. So this is Pisces Rising horoscope for March. So a lot of stuff is just building up still in your first house, though. We get Mars here. Hold on, let me get to the. Okay, that's a better. Okay, Mars enters your first house to give you that energy, to give you that boost of energy to just kind of just go at it. This is a new cycle for you too. A lot of stuff is just like ramping up, and there's a lot. This is eclipse season too, so I mean, this is like really everything is like in your first house, honestly. So like this is like literally pointing towards you and giving you all of this like personal like energy and bursts of new life and new attitude, new approaches to life. You're changing your the way you present yourself, your impressions. You have this new energy that's just really kind of just helping you guide you towards anything you want to go after and something like that. This is just all personal stuff for you, Pisces Rising. And then you have the lunar eclipse full moon in Virgo in your opposite sign of Virgo, which is in your seventh house, to reveal some maybe emotional connections with relationships, or some relationships will be kind of, something is being illuminated when it comes to other people for you. And this can be in the most drastic ways for you guys. This can just be you've had eclipses in this first and seventh house over the last year and a half now. So this is just another one last revealing point when it comes to how other people can kind of balance out this first house stellium at this point for you guys. But yeah, relationships and you are like, Virgos and Pisces have been going through the eclipses the most, I guess the most eclipse changeable energies, like I said. So maybe there's new relationships that come in the picture that kind of help out, something to do with you, or how to balance out you and other people, or contracts or partnerships or commitments, or supporting other people, or maybe supporting you, or something to do with like this one-on-one connections is being like revealed at this point for you guys. So next thing is happening is Venus is entering your second house. I would think maybe Venus going into the second house, and it's in Aries, in detriment. You're going to just have this value to just take as much as you want, or maybe spend as much as you want, because you might have the desire to just like ooh, I want this, and I'm just gonna go after it. But she kind of blends into the Saturn Neptune conjunction, and I would think like, yo, she goes over Neptune. It's like, ooh, this shiny new thing I want, and then it's like it costs too much, and then it breaks your bank, and it just like breaks your wallet, and then it's just like, oh, you have to face that reality consequences of you spent too much on that, and it's like, now I'm kind of broke. Like that's just a perspective. Like that's how I would think. But I would think like you would just want to just you want to like kind of just take as much possessions, or you might want to value more like feisty, like just things that just feel sexy in a way, and you're just like, oh, I want that in some type of way. But you know, it's all good. I mean, it's that's just kind of the energy for that. So next thing is your ruler Jupiter is going to be stationing direct. Hold on, let me get this right. It always does this for Pisces. So Jupiter is stationing direct. Hold on. Okay. I know, like I said, it always. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, whatever. Jupiter is stationing direct in your fifth house. So a lot of growth and protectiveness and beliefs. And when it comes to like your creative talents or these hobbies or maybe some romantic interests or dating or children, something to do with like maybe your protected children or something like that. Like all of these perspectives and beliefs on creative side, your children, romance, dating, like inspiration, bucket list, desires, fertility, conception, all that stuff. It's been kind of turning inward since November. Like all of this opportunity growth has been expanding, but then it's just like it's been deflating, and it's just like, okay, now you take the wheel and try to understand this internal growth that is being shifted for you when it comes to those topics of children, creative side, inspirations, passion, love, dating, all that stuff. Now you're getting a little bit more opportunity to, you know, take whatever is, you know, available when it comes to that stuff. And you know, this is really good. This is your ruler waking up. You can finally, you know, feel more hopeful and optimistic about the future, about what is being grown here and for you guys. Very nice. Next thing happening is the solar eclipse in Pisces. Hold on, I gotta see if this is gonna work. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we got the partial solar eclipse in Pisces, just to add one last layer, one last seed being planted when it comes to who you are and who you want to show yourself out into the world. Impressions, your approach to life, these new beginnings that are drastically starting for you. You'll see the remnants of what has been changed over time after this point, guys. So, Hugh, like I said, this is one of the last Pisces solar eclipses for you. I think there's going to be a lunar eclipse in Pisces later on this summer during Virgo season, but like from this point to that point, you'll see the 6 month progress of what's been changing for who you are and stuff like that. And then the next thing happening is just the sun is entering your second house, and then Mercury stationing direct at the same time. So yeah, this is the sun. Yes, it goes through Saturn, Neptune, blah, blah, blah. Whatever stuff, but the sun is exalted in Aries. This is just going to put the focus on like just your possessions, your priorities, your work ethic, maybe increasing your savings by doing certain things. Like the sun runs into Saturn in your second house, and you might have to, like I said, you have to be more responsible and limit your spendings in some type of way. And even if it feels like you want to go after and you want to just do it, it's like there's limitations. You might have to like restrict your spendings in some type of way, I would think. Yeah, be more responsible when in your spendings. That's just Saturn in your second house too. So, and then like I said, Mercury is done with the retrograde in your first house, so you're kind of done going back over these plans, kind of like shifting your thoughts, your perspectives of your approach to life, how you want to present yourself, the way you look, your physical body impressions, your attitude and stuff like that, just your demeanor. You can move forward on that. It's on the North Node, so there's been like this internal guidance of like just putting yourself out there in a way, changing your whole being, having the North Node there as well. So, and then after that, I think it's just Venus going into Taurus. Yeah. And then that's how we end the month. So Venus enters your third house of Taurus. And Venus is entering her home sign of Taurus. So she is in her home sign. This is just valuing all of the sweet, solid, structural, like stability connections when it comes to maybe local people in your environment. And you're gaining that, you're receiving more pleasurable connections, or like from neighbors or from close friends, like I said, or just like anything, like maybe online, you're receiving more, enjoyment, friendships online on social media or something like that. Or you're going towards, because it's a short trips is the third house thing, you're going towards places that feel good, and just you want to just like soak it all in around your local neighborhood and stuff like that. That's another thing that I would add, and I will leave you with that, guys. So that's March of 2026. That is your horoscopes for this eclipsed, changeable, huge month happening here, guys. So this is going to be another huge month. I really hope you, if you are still here and watch the whole thing, or maybe part of it, whatever, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me for another horoscope video. I'm super excited to do this. I'm always excited to do this. I just want to thank you so much for letting me provide and help you guys, do all this content. And, just, it's been nice, come follow me on TikTok, come hang on the lives. And, I'll talk about like astrology and all. I've been reading charts and doing all this fun stuff. It's been fun. Like, just come follow me on social media and stuff like that. I mean, Codifer on Instagram, mainly Codifer on like every social media platform. But yeah, just come hang out with us. I mean, hang out with me. This is going to be a huge month, guys. But so whatever happens is going to happen for the best, for better or worse. So let's just take this day by day and just kind of ride the wave. That's what I would at least end that with. So we will see you in April of 2026, because that's another handful month too. So we'll see you next time, guys.